Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SimPlay Motorsport. First of all, would like to offer an apology for last night. Obviously, we had the G portal go down. We couldn't access the website at all, so that is why there was no stream for the Pro-Am drivers last night. There was no race as well due to the fact we couldn't reset the server. So Snetterton for the Pro-Ams has been cancelled for this season. Obviously, we had to start keeping one eye on next season with the Christmas and New Year period coming up and the delays we've already had this season. So Snetterton has been thrown out the book. So they have Valencia and Donington Park left. We are back though tonight. 17 cars on the grid for tonight's race. It looks like it could be a belter of a race. The cloud is at its lowest it's been all week. It's been around that 0.7 mark of cloud. Very cloudy and overcast for the Ginettas, and it was going to be the same last night, but it's a lot lower tonight. 0.25 is the cloud tonight, so could be warmer, could have a different impact on the tyres. It is around the same ambient temperature though, so we'll keep our eyes on how these tyres behave with the sun out a little bit more. Kelly Davis is back this week. He joins me in the commentary box. Kelly, good evening. Welcome back. Hello. We missed you last week. How are we?
Yep. I'm very well, mate. Yeah, very, very well. I had a great holiday. I'd like to say that Barbados is lovely at this time of year. Unfortunately, I didn't go to Barbados. I went to Warwickshire, but it was still very lovely. And first things first, I'd like to say thank you to Langley for looking after my seat last week. And didn't he do a cracking job last week as well? I watched it back just today, actually. He did a cracking job. Thanks, Langley, for your for sitting in my seat. I think it might be in jeopardy in the future.
Yeah, it's well, no, I wouldn't be too sure. Sweet and sticky in your box as always. He was going to join us tonight as well to give us the Ted Kravitz pit lane replay reviews. He's going to sit and watch replays on any incidents that we may not have seen or caught. But he's got a migraine today, so he's not joining us in the box. But yeah, no, it's going to be a cracking fight tonight. I think we're in for a heck of a Snetterton. We've got Kieran O'Reilly, who you're thinking he's a little down the order. This is practice. Lap times have been done on low fuel at the top. O'Reilly has just done a long fuel run. We can tell you that one purely because he's battling COVID. He seems like he's got it quite bad. Wasn't here on Tuesday evening for the Ginettas, but is feeling a bit better today. So he's looking to hopefully try and manage to get through this evening. So hopefully he gets through the evening, because this is the last week for the drop score points. He's got a drop score of 90. Just trying to find his name. 90. Where is it? Can't see it. 98 points is his drop score. So it's a pretty good drop score, Kelly. But obviously he's been scoring over 100 points quite consistently this season. He's going to rather want the 100 odd points than only gaining 98.
Absolutely, and I mean he's being chased by the Audio Sport guys, who had a cracking week last week with some brilliant results. And congratulations to Ben on a first feature race win and Dan on a sprint race win. And they don't want me back in the commentary box. Apparently, they have good luck when I'm not in the commentary box, so they didn't want me back. So that's nice, isn't it? But they are chasing O'Reilly down now, so every point's going to count. He's going to want, not feeling very well. He's still going to want to have the best round he can tonight, Matt.
Yeah, indeed he is. It's going to be an interesting one to see what he can do tonight, as well as a few others. Brandon Williams back in the lobby. We lost him momentarily there. He had a weird Laguna, and Langley always questioned off air why we called it Spooky Laguna. He got to understand first hand last week why we called it. Stuff happens. Put it this way, Kelly. Brandon Williams, at the start of every session after it got reset, got kicked. So from practice to race 1 he got kicked, from race 1 to FP2 kicked, FP2 to quali and quali to race 2 he was kicked at the beginning of every session. So he had to start from the pit lane both times. Wednesday night, you'll love this one, Wednesday night, it gave Andy Aberdeen in race 2 a drive-through penalty for being out of position at the start, right? In which he then served as the lights went green at the opening of the race. Because he'd done it before he'd actually crossed the start line to start the race, it then registered him as P1 about 15 seconds up the road from the actual P1. So what Andy did was he did another drive-through to kind of balance it out and negate that one, but he was P1 by 15 seconds. So Spooky Laguna, man, it's a real thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and it stems back to our Project Cars days, because always something used to happen. It was all a bit more sinister than like ghosts on the track and you know, like headlights of old crashes and things like that, and all kinds of weird things.
The one I remember was
happened.
Daniel Francis come out the pits, rear wing fell off. Now, those who remember Project Cars 2, a rear wing falling off your car gave you 100% rear damage, and it made your car drive like.
Well, it was undrivable.
Oh, it was undrivable.
Yeah.
And Daniel Francis had come out from doing his pit stop, and as he's on the pit exit, his rear wing just off it fell, and it gave him 100% rear damage. And he put the video on the Facebook page at the time, and it was like, oh yeah, and hence Spooky Laguna. But we're not at Spooky Laguna anymore. We're back on British soil.
Wow.
Where do you
rate... the spooky tree? We've
got the scary tree, which is not actually there in real life anymore.
No. I was going to say, if we're, I don't know who we're on board with, but we'll point it out to you if you don't know the legend of the spooky tree, which was there for donkey's years.
We're on board with Legier, and it's right there.
Okay, and right there, just as you come up to the hairpin, right in front of you. It looked like a man with his hands in the air, and that's now gone. I think it was cut down somewhere.
Wasn't cut down.
It was a storm, wasn't it?
Blew over in a bad storm we had.
Yeah.
Just before COVID had hit. So you knew it was going to be a disastrous year in 2020 because we'd lost the scary tree.
But we've still got it.
We've still got it, but what I want to ask you, Kelly, is we've got on, and let's take this game and this game only. We've got Donny Park, Brands Hatch, Silverstone, Alton Park, and Snetterton. Out of them 5, I'll get your other ranking in a minute, but out of them 5 tracks on ACC, British tracks, where do you rate Snetterton?
So we've got Snetterton, Donington, Alton Park,
Brands and Silverstone.
Right at the bottom. Yeah. Right at the bottom, and if I could add a few tracks in between, I would.
Well, let's go UK overall. Where do you rate that one?
UK overall, the only thing that's probably worse is Cadwell Park.
Okay,
in my opinion.
Overall, If we're talking touring cars, it's still your bottom one?
Absolutely, yes, and twice on Sunday. Yeah.
See, I'm with you on that. Dan said Alton Park is worse than Snetterton, but I quite like Alton Park.
No. Alton Park's got some character to it. I mean, me and Dan are both still traumatised by our trip to Alton Park. It wasn't the best trip up and back, and it was even worse for me. No, Alton Park. When we went earlier in the year to British Touring Car, it was great to go into a new circuit. It's almost like meeting somebody famous. Do you know what I mean? You can then, you can kind of understand the corners and so on and so forth. I think Alton Park is too narrow, but Snet offers nothing. Snet is since they did £100,000 worth of unimprovements as far as I'm concerned. They might as well have left it as it was.
My brother went a fair few years ago now, and he said, I've never been to a track that's so flat where you can sort of stand on the infield and see majority of it. And I just thought, that's kind of, with Alton Park, it's got a bit of undulation up and downhill, up Clay Hill after Knickerbrook, you come downhill into Cascades, and that's for me why I put Alton Park above. Yes, it's narrow, but I think it's got a bit more of a challenge to it. The bumpiness and the undulation, the elevation changes is just better.
And it's got Knickerbrook.
The greatest corner name in World Motorsport.
Ever.
I will not have, you can say that El Rouge is one of the greatest corners in World Motorsport. That's fine.
Yeah, or Parabolica or
name.
Acqua Minerale. But
corner name is Knickerbrook and Knickerbrook only for the name alone. Yeah. If you don't know the story, put it in the chat and me and Kelly will run you through it.
But if you're bored of hearing it,
if you're bored of
hearing it, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it because you're going to hear it again if nobody's heard it. Championship standings coming up now. Is we've got 30 seconds after practice. The drivers are on their final laps. It is Kieran O'Reilly who has a 74-point lead over both Dan Davis and Ben Ruck, tied on points after last week. We've then dropped back to that of Brandon Williams, who's 159 behind, still in it, still got a bit to play for, but not quite there or thereabouts. No overtaker tonight. He's 258 behind. Ian McGowan possibly going to be with us for race 2. He's P6. DeBonte's P7 with Clouden in P8. Gold leader Mike Mathews not here tonight. He's sunning it up in Egypt, although he's done more Discord work this week than I've ever seen him do before. While he's in Egypt, he's there for a wedding. So Mike, if you're listening, get everybody in the hotel to like and subscribe. If you haven't yet, why haven't you? Patrick Leger is second now in gold after a good week last week. 1 point clear of Matt Wright. Then it's Hibbs. He's moved up into 4th in gold. Really good back end of the season for Hibbs at the moment. Michael Harris, P13. I'd just like to say as well, from Hibbs down, they can no longer win this championship. Goudet's P14. He's climbed up a bit recently as well. Again, a good couple of results for him in recent weeks has climbed him up the order. Tordok's 15th from Thomas Cordno. He's had a good couple of rounds recently. Rob Ramsell, a great Laguna Seca for him, P17. Stordok P18 with Rob Smith. Clace had a great, he got his class win in the sprint race for gold last week. He's 20th. Steve Millington, a decent week for him last week. Skunky, we hope Skunky comes back soon. He's been busy with work recently, that's why we've not seen him. Cairns OP's recovering well. He's not been around for a few weeks, neither has Hoffa. Rozalski's had pedal problems. Heo and Sullivan. Constructors wise, Audio Sport and Dapper Racing, 204 points is the gap. Cloud9, 397 behind. SimPlay Racing, a 570 behind. Then it's MSA 5th, 739 behind. A Greasy Bandits 6th, 763 behind. They can all win it. AS Racing, Team GBR, Utopia Motorsport, Team RRM, Quantum, Roadrunner Motors, Full Send Fjordlord and Effect Motorsport cannot win it.
Well done, Matt.
Thank you.
Very well done. Very well done indeed. It's this championship is looking like. I mean, there's lots of people who can still win it, but it's really about a 3-horse race, really, isn't it? Don't you think?
Yeah,
I know you're typing and trying to talk.
We've got 3 weeks left. Brandon Williams, I just think because of his bad luck at Laguna Seca, a few races recently where he's been a little off the boil compared to the first half of the season. I think 159's. There's 399 points drivers-wise left up for grabs. I think 159, that's pretty much half the points. That's a big ask. That's a big ask.
Yeah.
What you're kind of needing is Dan, Ben and O'Reilly to miss next week or Donington when there is no drop scores for them to take.
Yeah, that's actually a tough poll that you've just put up there. I'm struggling with that one. But yes, you're quite right. I think it's basically down to a 3-horse race, and that's of course, Kieran has got. If he keeps with the form he's got, he can keep the Audio Sport boys at bay. But only takes one particularly bad round, doesn't it? And drop scores no longer apply this week, next week.
So this is the last week for drop scores. So come next week, drop scores will not be taken. We're seeing that Ben for the sprint win, Righty for the sprint win, says Bestie in the chat. Bestie, where have you been? Hope you enjoyed France. We've missed you, Bestie. It's good to see you back.
Very much so.
Right, let's get an early mention of this grid order for the first race this afternoon. Ramsell will start from the pit lane. He has missed the start of this race, so that already mucks the grid up a little bit. But it's Jamal Clouden alongside De Bont on the front row of the grid then. P1 and 2, P3 and 4, row 2 is Brandon Williams. From Ben Rook, Ben in P4, good shout in P4 at the moment. Dan Davies P5 and O'Reilly P6. That's the end of the platinum list. So McGowan was asked to be placed at the back of the grid. Gold pole for Steve Millington. He's alongside Class in P7 and P8. P9 would have been Stardog with Rob Ramsell in 10th. That'll now be Thomas Cardno, P10. P11 and 12 would have been Cardno and Goudet. It will now be Goudet and Michael Harris. P13 and 14 would have been Harris and Hibbs. That'll now be Hibbs and Leger. And then it will be 15th and 16th for that of Matt Wright and then Ian McGowan at the back of the pack. So all 17 drivers in. Rob Ramsell will start, though, from the pit lane. He's missed the start of this race. Kelly, who's your money on?
Well, in the I think any one of the top 6 could win this, to be honest with you. With your poll, I went for De Bont. I don't think we've seen the best of him, and when he's on, he's very good. So I've gone for that. So I'm going to go De Bont on this one. But look, it's only 6 platinum drivers left, and I mean, I normally start. In case the people aren't aware, we don't watch the same things on our screens. I have a different view, the way things work, so on and so forth. So I usually sit further back in the pack at the beginning of the race, and I sit on board. I usually sit at the championship leader of platinum, so I can keep an eye from behind. But I've gone to McGowan today. I'm taking it that Ian wants to plough through the pack a bit. Does he not? He was
worried that he was going to miss race 1. It was a late call for him to race, whether he'd be back in time or not. So he said put him at the back of the grid just in case he doesn't make the start of the race, which would then not have glitched out the grid order had he been placed in his normal position. I'm going to go Brandon Williams for the race win.
Yeah, I think, as I said, anybody in the top 6 could take this one. I think it all depends on what happens in turn 1, I suppose.
100%. Good evening to Chris, Audio Sport, our fantastic sponsor, Rob Smith, Berserker, Sam Williams. Class is in the chat. Warner's Class is in the chat. Who's excited for this race? Ian Best saying Snet is almost as bad as Donington. Wash your mouth out with soap, because Donington is the best British track on this game. So give your head a wobble. And good evening to Ian Thompson as well. Rob Smith couldn't agree more. Donington is one of the better English tracks. It's not one of the better English tracks. It's the best English track. Who's at Donington Park?
It's the second best English track.
Go on, first. You're with Brands, I reckon. I reckon you're a Brands.
No way, man. No, I hate Brands. I hate Brands with a passion. No. Try again, Matt.
I know it's Thruxton, but I'm thinking of the game.
Oh, on the game, then Donny hands down.
Right, there we go.
All day long. All day long. Yeah.
Right, they round the final corner. Round 21 of a longer season here. 13 races this season. SimPlay's longest ever championship. Coming towards its conclusion, round 21 is about to get underway here at Snetterton. Jamal Clouden from De Bont, from Williams, from Rook, with the championship protagonists of Rook, Dan and O'Reilly in the top 6. With green and go, it's a good start from Williams. Gets a little boxed in, though, by Clouden and De Bont. Door rubbing already. Ben Rook trying to follow him through. De Bont then closing the door quite aggressively into turn 1 on Williams. That's allowed Clouden to get a good getaway here. De Bont then going defensive in towards the Wilson hairpin, forcing Williams to look to the outside line. Could that open the door for a run? But Ben Rook on that inside. They come now towards Palmer's for the first time. Dan and O'Reilly just got away. You could tell from Dan and O'Reilly they just wanted a clean getaway and a nervy start. Ben looked the more of the aggressor from the three of them at the start of this race. Everybody's away. I say that. There's a yellow flag in the background. That was Harris who's had a moment through the Wilson hairpin. That's Rob Ramsell now on the back of him. But Jamal Clouden, Kelly, got the getaway he needed, and O'Reilly's got past Dan Davis.
Yes, indeed. I was watching from the back and I said, pretty good at the back. Just Harris with a bit of an incident, and I don't know if he had tap from behind or not. I was expecting McGowan to go hugely up the grid in the first couple of corners, but he hasn't yet. He's probably settling in a little bit. It's not the easiest track to overtake, is it? That turn 2 is quite a good opportunity, but reasonably good start from everybody.
Jamal weaving down the straight, trying to get temperature in his tyres. One man who's had a great start was in the middle of the gold category is John Goudet, now on the back of Steve Millington for the lead in the gold category. So he's had a good opening lap to this race, getting past a number of cars to get into this lead. But it's Clouden coming through the bomb hole now in towards Coram. They go. Clouden with De Bont on the back of him. And if you've not tested Snetterton, it's one of them tracks that you can tell if you've not practiced a lot. It's not one that drivers race a lot of. So unless you're used to it being in the British touring cars or maybe the British GT, even the bikes around England, you're not going to know too much of Snetterton. But the top 2 getting away well. Dan's pulled in for the early pit stop. He clearly wants to clear air.
He does, and it's a normal, a bit of a regular strategy from Dan. First lap pit, because he has said exactly right. He wants to get the clean air, get his head down, get himself out of traffic. And John Goudet, Hibbs, Ledger, and McGowan have all opted for the same thing as well. Into the pit, get the pit stop done early. Dan's his first one in, so he's first one out. Hibbs with a good stop. Leisure, I will get it in a minute. Patrick with a great stop, got in front of John Goudet by the looks of it.
So there we go. We saw Clouden go a little deep at the part, but the Wilson hairpin and De Bont avoids him into the Agostini corner. Breaks on the grass and round he goes to avoid the back of Jamal Clouden. So De Bont has tumbled down the order. Williams hasn't gone with the leaders. He looks like he's possibly just backing Ben Rook up into his teammate of Kieran O'Reilly in this championship. Constructors still alive, so Dapper Racing are going to want to score well against Audio Sport, and don't look too much into it at the moment because Dan's done that pit stop. It will play out towards the end of this race. Goudet did get jumped by Leger and is on the back of Leger coming in towards Agostini, but that from De Bont, his own doing. And it looks like around here, Kelly, when you go off, I can speak from the Ginettas on Tuesday night, you get a lot of dirt on your tyres. It does cost you a lot of time. Cardno's just got past and right had a look in towards the Brundle-Nelson chicane.
Absolutely, and Ben Rook is all over the back of Williams, as you just said. Would they be playing team tactics? Well, it is possible. Williams, as we know in the past, is extremely hard to get past, but Ben is a young protege round here, so let's see how he gets on with this one. Or no, he's going to dive into the pits. Ben into the pits.
That's probably a great strategy from Ben Rook there. Get into the pits, get your pit stop done and out the way in this race. So Clouden leads as we go across the line from Williams, from O'Reilly, Rook and Miller Millington and a few others have come into the pits. Class is now up into 4th with O'Reilly 3rd. Stardog's 5th from De Bont then. That looks like Michael Harris is going to stay out on track. He's P7. Ben Rook's pit stop done and dusted. Dan pitted before him. How was the undercut from Dan Davis on Ben Rook? It's not going to happen, I don't think, because Ben's going to be off the limiter any time now. Here comes Dan Davis. It's only a short run down in towards turn 1, and Ben's actually opened the gap up to Dan Davis a little bit with that lap stuck behind Williams.
Excuse me, yes he has, you're quite right. So Ben in the pound seats on this one. Remember, these two are still racing for the championship. They may be teammates, they may be friends, but there's a championship involved here. So they are still racing for it, and there's no team orders.
We spoke to them last week, Kelly, in the interviews, myself and Langley, and the question we asked both of them is it team orders, is it a team game, or are you fighting each other as hard as you're fighting O'Reilly? They both said last week, and Dan's echoed this statement throughout the week, they are fighting each other as hard as they would fight O'Reilly. And look at this, there is a bit of the team play. Williams letting O'Reilly go down the Bentley straight.
Absolutely, I saw that. Right, O'Reilly in front. Williams is dropped in, is playing the team game. And why not? It is a team game as well as an individual sport. That's the beauty of motorsport, where your loyalties are, as we're just speaking. And and just to reiterate, if anybody thinks that I've got any say in team orders over team audio sport, I haven't. I'm just the I run the company. Dan runs the team, so there's no team orders. They are free to race, and I've got no say over it. Even if I did want to imply team orders, I get no say. I've got less shout in it than you have, Matt.
Exactly. De Bont is coming to the pit lane. Stardog stays out on the track. What will Michael Harris do? He'll be the last car to pit. Few cars close together. He was just looking down the back of the order. Goudet's got Matt Wright on the back of him, and McGowan and Ramsell are on the back of Thomas Cardno. Harris now into the pits. This is McGowan, lost out to Cardno a little bit. He's got Ramsell with him in this one. John Goudet and Matt Wright getting closer again, and then Leger trying to get onto the back of Hibbs. De Bont's coming out of the pit lane, and here we go, down the start line they go. Hibbs gets through, Leger gets through, and De Bont will squeeze in between, I say squeeze in, big enough gap between that of Leger and Goudet.
Yes, indeed. And as you say,
Matt Wright's having a look. Sorry. Yeah,
he was. Yeah, I'm on board with that one. As one I was about to talk about. Matt Wright is very close. Probably the closest battle on track at the moment. It's Matt Wright on the back of Goudet, and they're fighting for 13th and 12th and 13th place, and they've both stopped already.
Yep, Harris is in the pits. He's down to last as he comes out the pit lane. John Goudet and Hibbs, by the way, are running red and yellow and blue and yellow wheels today. For John's friend who passed away a year ago. You may remember back a year ago that they ran a special livery for that one, so that's why their wheels are a different colour for tonight in memory of John's friend. But Matt Wright, like you say, closest fight at the moment. We've got this battle between Hibbs, Leger and De Bont brewing as well, with Goudet and Wright not far in the background. We've also got Cardno, McGowan and Ramsell in a bit of a trio scrap so far. But I have to admit, Clouden at the minute has done a great job to lead this race out front.
Yeah, we've said in the past, Jamal has got great pace. He's sometimes fastest lap. He's extending his lead out front. He's a man with no pressure here, really, isn't he? You know,
not fighting for anything. He's got nothing to lose.
At all.
He can be gloves off, elbows out, and he just wants to win races.
Yeah, and we said he's got a good turn of speed, but sometimes just makes a little errors that let him down. Hopefully, he just get his head down. I'd like to see him win this one. I would be very happy to see Jamal win this one.
So just going back to the fight of Leger and Hibbs and that of De Bont. De Bont getting closer to the back now of Leger. Down towards the first corner of Riches. Leger not having to defend just at the moment. De Bont not close enough. Dropping back towards Goudet and Wright in towards Riches as well. Wright not close enough for now. And then back to Cardno. McGowan's a little closer to Cardno than Ramsell is to McGowan, but still no manoeuvres being done there. If we look at the fastest lap time, it's a 1:46 dead. 2 tenths quicker than O'Reilly on the last lap. So Jamal Clouden really up for this. But Ben Rook has taken that fastest lap since then. And let's not forget, there is a point for fastest lap. So that is crucial for Ben at the moment. Not only is he outscoring his teammate and championship rival Dan Davis, but he's also going to score an extra point over him in this race.
And as a man who's lost a championship on countback, every point counts, absolutely.
You know all about that one, wouldn't you, Kelly? Go back to Season 5 or Season 4, Project Cars 2. Go and check the playlist out. Season 4, Project Cars 2. Go and watch the Pro-Am Bathurst race Rain, drama. Mace Gamer used the reset button, which was not allowed. You lost points. You lost 5 championship points for that. That took him out the championship. Argent and Kelly had a bit of a ding-dong in that race 1.
Like we did a lot then.
And then you went and won race 2. And, Rabbit Joe, Joseph Colclough, back in the day, second places. 1 second place is what it went down to. Brandon Williams in the pits. Ben's coming through the bomb hole. Let's see where Williams comes out in regards to Ben and Dan. Because I tell you what, if Ben jumps Williams here in the pits and Dan doesn't, that'll again have massive ramifications in this championship order.
Just in case you do go back and watch that video, watch for the point where Dan and Matt realise that I'm still in the championship hunt. It's really quite funny, their reaction.
Oh no, Kelly was a heck of a driver back in the day. Right, so Williams will not jump Dan or Ben. Williams
That's
has
not
come
what
out
I meant, but it was your reaction. Yeah, it was your reaction.
Yeah, apologies.
Dan now with the fastest lap and
Dan's now got the fastest lap. Williams has came out behind Hibbs. With Leger and De Bon all over the back of him now. Leger's actually having a look up the inside of Williams into the hairpin. Can't do it there. De Bon looking for the up and under at the Wilson hairpin. Let's go back to Goudet and Wright. Still pretty much as they were. Cardno has got McGowan up the inside. Bit of a tap wide there from McGowan on Cardno. And McGowan gets through on the exit of Wilson's and now pulls away in towards Palmer's. Ramsell could have this one. Harris looks like a retirement from this first race. So Williams now under pressure from Leger and from De Bont, but he's fallen behind that of Brook and Davis. And like you say, down with that fastest lap now, that's crucial.
Absolutely. In the chat, Mickey H saying he's getting a bit bored now. Didn't expect to stay all night. Well, look at this battle that's shaping up nicely.
That's Michael Harris who's in the pits.
Oh, okay, yeah, I'm with you now. Okay, no, stick in it, Mike. It's you never know what'll happen, so stay with it.
Jamal Clouden stays out for another lap, as does Kieran O'Reilly. What about Class now? Current net gold leader at the moment. He stays out. And Stardog. I think Hibbs is possibly the net leader overall in the gold championship. And again, talks circulating that gold could become its own thing next season, which gives these drivers maybe something to fight for a little harder in terms of the race wins and whatnot. But Hibbs pulling away from Williams at the moment with Leger and De Bon all over the back of him. Goudet and Wright have pretty much stayed as they was, and Ramsell now getting on the back of Cardno down the order for them two for 14th and 15th place. McGowan's checked out there. So the top 4 still to pit. We've got 3 and 3/4 minutes left in this race, and Williams now is within a second of Hibbs. So these 4 could get a little entertaining.
Absolutely. It's going to get busy in the pits very, very quickly with these 4 that have still got to do it, because they've only got a little time to do it. They can do it right at the last minute, but they do have to do it. So watch out for that one. Why is Michael Harris in the pits so long? It didn't look like a lot of damage that he had.
I think that may be a retirement, Kelly, and that was why his commenters in the YouTube chat there. O'Reilly is pretty solid. He is pretty solid. He's chipped that gap down. It was 2.1 a minute ago. It stays at 2.1 through the middle sector. So he's just picked up the pace a little bit, because it was 3 seconds when Clouden did the fastest lap of the race. It's chipped 9/10 away, but I pretty much think that Clouden's got this one under wraps here, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has, as long as he doesn't mess up his pit stop, of course. You know, that could give Kieran the opportunity.
Well, all O'Reilly's got to do is come out ahead of Ben and Dan, and he's you know, that's the bonus. This is the bonus for Clouden at this stage of the season. He can't win the championship, but he's not really in a fight.
He can win races.
He can win races, and O'Reilly may not choose to fight him too hard and being caught up in an incident. The top 2 are into the pit lane then, with 2 minutes 21 left on the clock. Class also in. Will Stardog come in? Or will Stardog think, do you know what, I'm going to lead a lap in Pro? He is going to lead a lap in the Pro category, so he will have 1 lap led for Stardog Barclay here, the gold driver
get on him in
this race. Here comes Ben Rook. Where's Ben to O'Reilly? He's ahead. Where's O'Reilly to Dan? O'Reilly is now off the limiter. Dan's going to be on his outside. No, he's not. O'Reilly splits Dan and Ben has jumped Jamal Clouden. So there's a car between himself and O'Reilly. There's 2 between himself and Dan. The young protagonist, as Kelly called him earlier, leads, or is the net leader of this race. Ben Rook could be on for back-to-back wins. Feature last week, sprint this week, and is this going to do his championship the world of good?
It really could, yes, absolutely. Dan will be upset to see O'Reilly in front of him and Ben. He's fighting both of these, and yeah, the young protege is a bit like my first thought is Mika Hakkinen. When he had his first win, they just kept coming one after another after another. Could this be the case for Ben Rook? Could it have opened the floodgates for multiple wins? He's
2 wins this season, a sprint win I think back at Monza, and then the feature race win last week, wasn't it? De Bont there just on the grass a little bit through Hamilton's at the moment, but Legier having a look up the inside of Williams, not really an overtaking place through Oggies and into Williams before you come to the Bentley straight, and Williams, huge little wiggle on the exit of Williams itself. Not named after himself, it's named after, I believe, Frank Williams and the Williams team. Is why that corner is named
I
Williams.
would have thought so.
Most of these corners names are based off of drivers or commentators, hence Murray's the final corner.
De Bont is going to...
he's hit him! He's hit Leger. Leger's round. And where's... Oh, no, he's unsafe rejoined on Goudet! Leger is unsafe rejoined on John Goudet, and that's given Matt Wright and Ian McGowan a place. And this could also give Cordno and Ramsel a couple of places, because De Bont's still on the grass. Cordno's gone through. He has given it back. Leger has let John go. And Ramsel gets ahead of De Bont through the inside of Coram. Going to fight this one hard is De Bont on the outside there. Coram, a difficult place because you're turning right while braking to as straight as possible into Murray's. But we're on the final lap. Ben Rook leads, and I pressed the wrong button.
That was De Bont. Was a little bit a little bit late on the brakes. He got out of it, chinked to the right, and then got himself on the grass. And Ramsel with quite a move round Patrick there. Patrick slowing down. I think he's letting people through, to be honest. And De Bont was on the grass and couldn't slow it down, and that's how he hit Patrick.
He did indeed, and is De Bont giving a place back to Leger? Not sure there, but De Bont was slow out of the Wilson hairpin, and Ramsel looking for as many places as he can possibly get, but Goudet was the unfortunate victim in all that. Leger unsafe rejoin into the path of John Goudet, which took John out of what is effectively now would have been a P8 for him in this race because he was ahead of Matt Wright. But Ben Rook down the Bentley straight leads from Jamal Clouden, from Kieran O'Reilly, from Dan Davis. This the fight to watch at the moment. McGowan hassling the back of Williams, coming through Oggies into hassling the back of Matt Wright, coming through Oggies and Williams now. But Ben Rook through the bomb hole he comes in towards Coram in just a moment. Here he comes now. Coram and Murray's left to go. And Ben Rook, well, like London buses was famously once said by Kieran Argent in a season, one brings two. For Ben, it's going to be race win number 3. 3 podiums in a row. And the young protagonist is taking it to the experience of O'Reilly and Dan Davis. Ben Rook wins race 1 of Snetterton from Jamal Clouden on the podium, and Kieran O'Reilly stays ahead of Dan Davis in P4. Dan will keep the fastest lap though. Class gold win for him once again in the sprint race. P5 Hibbs, great drive for P6, stayed ahead of Brandon Williams. Matt Wright and McGowan going side by side to the line. Wright gets it ahead of Ian McGowan, P9. John Goudet disappointed to lose out them 2 places at the end, P10. Cardno, P11. From then what will be Stardog, who hangs on in there from Ramsel, Leger from De Bont, and we just await for Steve Millington. But Kelly, talking points in that race already. I'm sure tickets will be coming in from what we've just seen. But the biggest talking point, Ben Rook, race winner.
Ben Rook, indeed, he is the Oscar Piastri of the moment, isn't he, all of a sudden? And another race win, and a great one there for Ben. Moves him forward, got to move him in front of Dan Davis in the championship, because they were tied on points. So, and a couple of places in front. I feel for Jamal, he gave it a reasonably faultless race from what I saw, and ends up with, he's on the podium, but maybe a race win could have been good. McGowan with a strong drive there. Remember, he was back in the grid there to end up in 9th place. And Matt Wright, I think Matt Wright was kind of in the right place at the right time when the whole De Bont and Leger accident. I'll get there in a minute. I'll get there with Leger. He was in the middle of that incident and kind of got away with some of that. So yeah, some great action, great action, and we've still got a feature race to do yet.
We've still got a feature race to do. That is class's second category win of the season, but that already has big championship ramifications. Ben Rook, your race 1 winner, will be back for race 2 in the second qualifying. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen, to SimPlay Motorsport here for the second race of the evening. It's qualifying time. Another point up for grabs. Who will take that pole position? This is going to be the interesting one. Jamal, first man out the pits. I'm just going to go down the order a little bit. This man, Rob Ramsell, third on track at the moment. He's managed to make it out the pit lane on his outlap in qualifying tonight. There was a moment, if it was caught, I don't know if Dan had caught it on the Ginettas the other night. He turned his ignition off on pit entry and
I heard about this.
Was absolutely pummeled from 4 or 5 cars behind on exiting the pits because he crossed the pit line for it to ghost. And he couldn't return to the pits because as every car hit him, it kept moving his car, so it kept saying that he needs to be stationary before returning to the pit lane. So he's made it out today, thankfully. Rob Ramsell. You
couldn't make it up, could you?
You couldn't make it up, but it could only happen to Rob Ramsell, to be fair. But he's made it out the pit lane in this one, so everybody's in one piece, thankfully. De Bont will carry a qualifying ban in this race. Now, championship ramifications. O'Reilly has a 66-point lead over Ben Rook, 77 to Dan Davis. It's 172 to Williams now. So with 333 points up for grabs, Williams is just there really to play that team game for O'Reilly. Clouden moves up ahead of McGowan and De Bont, an overtaker, into P5. It'll then be McGowan, De Bont, overtaker. Mathew still leading goal from Matt Wright by 3 points. But Mike's not here tonight. Mike's drop score is 13, so he'll gain 13 points only. So Matt will want a good lead tonight in this one. Leger drops to third with Hibbs in 12th. Goudet goes out of Harris 13th and 14th. With Tardog 15th. Cardno from Ramsell from Stardog from Class with another category gold win in race 1. Then it's Rob Smith, Steve Millington, Skunky, Cairns, Hoffer, Rosowski, Hare, Sullivan. Constructors, 3 teams can win it. Cloud9, Dapper and Audio Sport can win it. And it's 222 points, the gap between Audio Sport to Dapper, 455 from Audio Sport to Cloud9. It sends SimPlay Racing, Greasy Bandits Racing, AS Racing, MSA, GBR, RRM, Utopia Quantum, Roadrunner Motors, Full Sense Fjord Laws and Effect Motorsport in that one. So interesting at the minute race 1, Kelly.
If there's any noise in the background, I'm just moving things around in the trophy cabinet. That's all. You can make some space.
You don't get the trophies. You only are you own the company, not the team. So I think they go to Dan. Sadly.
No, I think it's a bit like the McLaren setup where they get replicas. I get the real one. They get replicas. They get a photograph of it.
Yeah. From your cabinet, yeah.
Yeah. Of course. Brilliant. Yeah.
Clouden's the first man out on a lap. He's got O'Reilly close to the back of him now. I'm expecting O'Reilly to. Well, he actually can't drop off the pace because it's the first flying lap here. I'm expecting second lap to start to see the magic. Gives the tyres a bit more chance to come into play here. So I think everybody will improve as they go on. Chris says, any bonus for winning the Constructors, Kelly? Chris, well, I'm trying to negotiate more Skittles for Ben, but Kelly's not having any of it, Chris.
I didn't get this memo where you were all of a sudden Ben Rook's manager. I didn't get that come through. As I said, doesn't mean anything because you talked to Daniel about it. But not manager, agent. What's the difference?
Chris is manager. Because he's in charge of his day-to-day.
You're the agent.
I just sort out the contract, Chris. I only want some Starbursts or Opal fruits. That's all I want.
I don't think this needs to be done on stream, these kind of negotiations.
Dan has just returned to the pit lane.
Yes, he has. Still not happy with his car.
Well, he was the only man out in free practice 2, and it's unlike Dan to be out in free practice 2. So clearly, something not happy that he's not happy with. He's coming out the pit lane now. That is Class going through. So Dan will have a good clear road and he can take his time because he's only got Stardog a bit further behind. But it's Class who's currently your provisional pole setter at the moment. From O'Reilly, from Ben Rook, from McGowan, Hibbs, Cardno, Ramsell, Leger, Goudet, Clouden and Millington. Dan no lap time, Wright, Stardog and Williams no lap time at the moment. Although Stardog's just about to cross the line. So let's see. There we go. Look, appointed as he invited him to SimPlay. There we go. Thank you very much.
Well, I feel like I'm being ganged up on here. And when you say M&M's, Chris, which M&M's? That's the point. Because I ain't giving away no peanut ones. They're the best ones. So I ain't giving them.
I think my client would like a bag of peanuts, a bag of crispy, and a bag of chocolate ones, to be fair.
Well, all of them. I think you remember that he was paid in full for 4 seasons, and I'll tell you how watertight this contract was because one bag were giant Skittles. Okay, so that is a watertight contract for the next 4 seasons, 4 including this one. And don't give me that if he's a champion status. Well, if he gets there, then maybe we'll talk about.
Let's see what happens at the moment, because Jamal Cloudon's just gone.
What am I talking about? I'm not even the manager. Dan's the manager.
Cloudon's just gone provisional pole. Now Ben Rook goes provisional pole by 0.6 of a second. Think he may need some more skittles for his qualifying pace to match his race pace at the minute. 0.6 to Cloudon and to O'Reilly. That is a big margin at the moment. We're going back to Steve Millington. Next one we're going to see. In fact, no, car number 9 that's Leger. Then we'll drop to Millington. Good evening to Phil Raiden in the chat. Can tell it's the end of the season. Only 17 cars. Indeed, you can, Phil.
Unfortunately, yeah.
Chris says all of the above, and Rob Smith, don't forget the brownie M&Ms. Oh, well, 4 bags of M&Ms and Rob Smith. Thank you very much. Damien Hibbs towards the line. What can he do before Class is going to come and try and improve on his time? He does not. That's Dan Davis, who is just now going to start his first flying lap. 3.5 minutes, Kelly. He's got to get a wiggle on.
Yeah, it can be done, but he's leaving it very late. Needs to put himself in the top 5 at least, doesn't he? You know, but yeah, let's see what happens. Let's see if he's made some changes. Excuse me, for the best. I do apologise. Thatcher's Blood Orange went down the wrong way a little bit there. Other ciders are available.
The biggest question is, we found out last week that Bennett had a beer before racing. Has he had a beer tonight to get another race win? Chris will be able to fill us in on this one.
He won't be having one next week.
Smarties, but just the original blue ones, full of E numbers. And hey, Chris, you've got to deal with him, living in the same household, so I'm sure that'll be brilliant for you to deal with.
And I heard Kelly, that was stressful last week.
Kelly, original blue Smarties, yeah? We'll try and dig them out. That's the deal.
I don't think they do them anymore, do they? Original blue ones. I think there was some sort of, who's had a moment? Somebody's put the marker boards all over the track.
Just gone to the pits with the yellow flag, so I assume him, McGowan, to the line now. He goes up into P3. Here comes Ben Rook. Can he find any more time? No, he cannot. No improvements from anybody at the minute. Williams hasn't set a time. Here he comes now. To pop a lap time on the board. No, he doesn't. So still no lap time. John Gooday, 1.5 off the pace. Couple of tenths separating him. Well, it was, because he's now just jumped Matt Wright and that of Hibbs. So he moves up the order a little bit there. Car 31. Who is 31? That is Hibbs, who's coming to the line now.
There's an awful lot of talk about Ben Rook's future and his contracts. We're not hearing any of this from Ben, are we? He's the only one not talking about it. Dan's coming to the line. What's he going to do?
Well, Hibbs has just gone above Goudet, so he's took that place back. Dan to the line, second place by just under 2 tenths. But the problem is, Dan's got the traffic of Millington just in front of him, so how much will that play? Well, he's just invalidated his lap. Dan's got to keep pushing here. He needs to get a final lap. In fact, I don't think he's got time.
I don't know if he'll get there. Yeah, I don't know if he'll get there. What's he got? Minute 28. Oh, how far is he into the lap? Not far enough.
No, I don't think he's going to have time here, Kelly. I think that's Dan done.
I would push it, wouldn't you?
Oh, I would push 100% push it, yeah. 100% I'd push it, but that could be Dan done in this qualifying session. That is a real turn up for the books.
Well, it'd be all right if he stays where he is. That would be damage limitation. But let's see if he gets round for another go. Chris Rook saying that he sold his car, so he's going in the garage. Yeah, well, that sounds great. Yeah, Ben set up in the garage. Nice little sim rig room.
There we go. Yeah. Cloudon improved and found 2 tenths. O'Reilly's gone and found near enough the whole 6 tenths to move himself up and split the Audio Sport boys. McGowan now moves up to 4th. Can Ben Rook find any more time? No, but crucially gets another lap time on the board. The 515 is coming to the line. I can't see the 515. It's Brandon Williams. He moves into 10th place. Matt Wright, did he improve on his lap time? He does. He moves into 9th. What about Goudet? He goes back ahead of Matt Wright. What about Cordno and Leger? Cordno moves up to 11th. What about Leger? No improvement for him this time around. Next car is Hibbs. So Dan has called it a day. He's gone off.
He's done.
He cannot get another lap in. Dan will be behind his 2 championship rivals at least in this qualifying session.
Yes, absolutely. And we'll see who improves from here on in. He's going to be hoping and praying that no one goes quicker.
He is indeed. Millington goes ahead of Stardog and just gets 1 extra lap in at the line there. So Jamal Cloud will be the first man to finish. Davis, Hibbs, Goudet, DeBont and Harris in the pit lane, as I believe is Stardog. 741 in the pit. So Dan here has got to hope and pray for something out of this, that nobody else can jump him.
Absolutely. That's exactly what he'll be hoping for.
Jamal's not a million miles away, neither is Ian McGowan.
No.
So Dan losing 2 places in qualifying could be catastrophic. And Jamal's going to be the first man to
just
finish
coming up
his
to the
qualifying lap. So let's keep our eyes on what Jamal's going to do here, because this could be a huge one in terms of this qualifying. Does Jamal go ahead of Dan Davis? He stays out on the circuit, keeps it tight to the pit wall. Jamal Clouden improves, but not enough. O'Reilly improves, but not enough. What about McGowan? Can McGowan upset Dan's night even more? Yes, he can! Goes P2! Yes. But it crucially is Ben Pitts. It's provisional pole.
Yes, indeed, and I don't think anyone else is going to go quicker. Yeah, McGowan with a fantastic lap there, gets in front of O'Reilly, and he's the man. He's the man in this top 4 that hasn't got a championship to play for, or a constructors.
Indeed, so Matt Wright moves up to 8th briefly because Cardno then goes 8th. Leger goes up into P6. Classic saying he's on an invalid lap, so just Steve Millington to go. But I tell you what, here, Kelly, McGowan and O'Reilly separate Dan and Ben, and more importantly, Ben has got McGowan between himself and O'Reilly.
Yeah, absolutely. So Ben's still on that golden form after 2 wins. Now puts himself on pole. He's on an extra
point. And an extra point for pole. So
extra point for pole, exactly right, Matt. So yeah, he is absolutely flying and on a roll, and so much chat about his future and his contract, but more importantly, he's doing the business out there, Matt, and doing it well.
Doing it very well. Great qualifying that for Cardno down in P8. McGowan, though, back of the grid. What could he have done if he'd have been at the front for the start of race 1? Because he could have been a force to be reckoned with for the race win. I tell you now, he's had great pace from the back. Now puts it towards the front. This could be an interesting fight, because look at that second row. The Honda of Kieran O'Reilly on the left of screen and the Lamborghini of Dan Davis on the right of screen. That's a tasty second row.
Row 3, the same. Clouden, he's quick. Patrick has been almost the sensation of gold, or the best improver of gold in the latter part of the season. He's right there as well. I say row 3's an interesting one as well.
Indeed it is. Williams down in 12th. So not able to help his teammates out too much at the moment. No, struggling a little bit in this one. So we'll see. Where did Ramsell get 13th for him? Not a bad qualifying. And Matt Wright climbed up to 9th ahead of Goudet and Hibbs in that session. But my oh my, race 2 could be a big one. Just catching up with the chat. He's happy. Says being 15 is the biggest bragging rights. Only 2 seconds from second to last. That's going to be interesting. Berserker from first. Sorry. Are we now saying drinking and driving is a good thing? No, we are not saying that drinking and driving is a good thing.
No, because you might spell it.
Depends of the country. It is for Ben. Rob seems to work like James Hunt. Drives better with a drink. One man would agree on that sentiment. The good old Graham Sutcliffe.
Yeah, absolutely. Although the stories of Sutty and his drinking is wildly exaggerated.
False.
As me and Matt know from a previous Donington Park meeting, which brings me nicely to everyone going to Donny Park this weekend for the British Touring Car Championship. Have yourselves a fantastic time. I am so jealous you're going to be there. So have a drink from me, because you know I'd have one.
Yeah, sadly I'm only there for the Sunday, not the full weekend. I'll have a drink.
And do you know who I saw at the weekend at the festival I went to?
Go on.
Rick Parfitt Jr. And we've heard him play before, haven't we?
We have. We had a good drink and a boogie outside his tent when he was playing. Yeah, he was in the Car Gods BMW team at the time, playing a bit of a gig. One of the drivers, I think, was doing the drums that night, and cracking night that was.
It certainly was. Just in case you don't know, Rick Parfitt Jr. is he's the son of Rick Parfitt, one of the famous front members of Status Quo, and he played when he was a touring car driver as well. Who have we lost?
Just trying to see. Rook,
while you're working that out, I'll finish.
Cloud and Class Cardno, right? Leger. Oh, what a shame.
Oh. Hopefully he can get back in. Can he get back? Yeah, he can get back in before the start, can he?
Yeah, he's in now, but he'll be a pit lane start for him.
Yeah. That's a shame. Rick Parfitt Jr. was also a touring car driver and wasn't bothering Tom Ingram and Sutton too much, but he was a touring car driver just the same, and he played.
Correct, though. PN's in the chat. PN, if you're still listening, you can confirm this one. British GT champion was Rich Parfitt Jr., I think, in the Bentley back in the day.
Yeah, well, could well have been. And he did a bit of an impromptu gig for his team, and we happened to be standing outside that tent, so we heard all of it. And I saw him play for Properly at the weekend, and he's very good, actually. Very, very good. Very good. Great entertainer.
If anybody can answer that question, did Rich Parfitt Jr. win the British GT? I'm sure he did win the championship many moons ago, and I think it was in a Bentley. If so, let me know. But yeah, looking forward to this one. Kelly, race winner.
Yes.
Got to ask, race winner, who are you going for?
I'm not going to jinx my team. So I'm going to say Kieran O'Reilly. And hope the commentator's curse works. Sorry, Kieran. We're totally impartial here in the comms box, except Matt's probably a little bit more impartial than I am.
It was for Team Parker Racing, or as Monkey Boy just said, T Parker Racing in the Bentley.
Right,
there we go. Was a British GT champion.
Glad you've turned up, Andy. All of a sudden, you could have said hello earlier in the evening instead of. But yeah,
he's retracted his message because he's going to put Team Parker Racing and not make himself look a fool.
Too late. Too late.
It's already been said, Monkey Boy. It's out there for the world now. It'll be on YouTube for YouTube history.
Forever.
Now. Yep. So
forever.
We've seen your comment already. I'm going. Do you know what? I fancy McGowan. I don't know why.
Okay.
He's got pace. Yeah. I could fancy nothing to lose,
Driving
Kelly,
well
and that's what I'm thinking here. Now the question is, O'Reilly and Dan, champions at SimPlay Motorsport. We know that. O'Reilly won the GT4s last year. Dan's 10-time champion. Ben's not. Are we going to see that rookie, on a or not rookie, but new champion possibly to be crowned sort of errors creep in? McGowan has nothing to play for. How hard is Ben going to fight this? That's going to be the question. We are, though, for round 22, about to go green and go here in this race. And we go now, green and go here at the start of race number 2 of the evening at Snetterton. And Dan gets a good launch already side by side with Kieran O'Reilly to the outside of Richie's for turn 1. Dan getting a very close to O'Reilly's rear. You'd have hated to have tapped each other around there. They're still side by side. Ben got the launch he needed. McGowan covers the inside line of O'Reilly, but Dan's on the outside. A tap on O'Reilly to the back of McGowan and a tap to Dan. Side by side still. Dan's just got the nose there for O'Reilly. He has it now, but is he still going to look up the inside of Palmer's? I said that Ben, the rookie in this championship fight, is probably going to be the one to not be as aggressive, but it's Dan and O'Reilly being aggressive. Now Clouden to the outside of Agostini, looking aggressive on Davis, goes around the outside of Dan. Can he hold on to it though? The title line not always the best, and Jamal gets ahead of Dan. Dan's night on a British track, going from bad to worse.
Yeah, I think Dan was in the wrong place at the wrong time, to be fair. O'Reilly, he had the jump on O'Reilly, but then got stuck in behind McGowan, and O'Reilly had the better line and the better drive out of the corner. That then opened it up for Jamal to have a run as well. So I think that was just Dan being in the wrong place at the wrong time, the wrong part of the track, and everyone else is able to capitalise on it. From what I saw, clean start.
Very clean start from what we saw. Leger obviously off the back because of the fact he started from the pit lane. Goudet looks like he's pulling out on somebody there, attacking or defending. Looks like he's defending from Rob Ramsell into Brundle, and Nelson goes deep at the first part. Oh, and there's contact between the two teammates of Millington and Ramsell. Millington pushing Ramsell off, and Ramsell loses out to DuPont and to Harris. So John was defending from Ramsell there, and Ramsell comes off the worst, but Ben got away well at the start from McGowan. Then it's O'Reilly from Cloud and from Dan as we come towards the start line. Williams went from 12th to 7th. What an opening lap for him.
Absolutely. 12th to 7th, yeah, brilliant for him. Yeah, really good. As I say, a bit of argy-bargy at the back, but no real dramas for anybody. Poor old Patrick with that disconnection is now 5 seconds off the back of the pack.
2.9.
Coming up to, 2.9, so it's coming back as he catches him up. But Ben Rook with the fastest lap did exactly what he needed to do at the start. Yep. Get away, get clear.
Well, we do not give away fuel strategy on air, but I can see it in front of me, and there is a lot of split strategies going on in this race tonight, let me tell you. At the moment, Ben did do the best lap. Obviously he will do from pole position. Don't look at the first lap of the race at all, but it was interesting to see that Dan was even slower than Class and Williams on that opening lap. So just shows Dan's opening lap struggles. May not have got the tyres in the right window as well, Kelly, at the start.
Yeah, absolutely. It takes a couple of laps to get these tyres up to the right pressure. I don't know how sensitive Snet is. DuPont goes very deep, but manages to put it all back together. I don't know how sensitive Snet is. I try and avoid the place like the plague, but it usually takes a couple of laps to get your tyres exactly where you want them.
That seemed to be the case on Tuesday night, but like we said, there was a lot more cloud cover Tuesday night than tonight. Same temperature, but a lot more cloud cover. So we'll keep our eyes on these tyres at the moment. Back on with Dan, though, not really gaining on Clouden at all. Clouden's hassling the back of O'Reilly, down to Matt Wright. That's the closest fight at the moment. Sorry, to Hibbs, on Matt Wright. That's the closest fight at the moment. Hibbs trying to hunt down after Wright. Wright's trying to catch Cardno, not close enough at the moment. We've got DeBont bouncing over the curb on the outside of the bomb hole. It was an awful curb to go on because it is so bumpy out there on the outside. And Kelly, talk us through how hard Coram is, because you're turning right for Coram, but then you've got to try and brake as straight as you can into Murray's.
I mean, the last sector of this track is really technical. When you come out the bomb hole, you're then just somewhere between not flat out, round that ever never-ending right-hander, and then, as you say, you've got to brake. You're turning right and trying to brake straight for a 90-degree left-hander. The last corner is a real challenge. It really is.
Yeah, it really is. Well, McGowan all up the rear spoiler of Ben Rook now. Into Agostini they go. Once again, McGowan, fastest man on circuit last time round. So interesting to see this from McGowan at the moment. Got good pace out there. And Dan can't do anything just at this moment in time.
I was just thinking about Dan. Is Dan now thinking to himself, let's just have a watching brief? It's a long way to go, Matt. You know,
and he's huge,
Yeah, you know, and he's only a couple of seconds off the lead at this moment. Clouden's got nothing to lose, so he can go ahead and attack O'Reilly. If Dan's attacking the back of Clouden's not going forward. Is he better off letting Clouden attack O'Reilly and hoping for some sort of incident?
I tend to agree with you, Kelly, but I don't think Dan's close enough, and I think Dan runs the risk of Williams is only 2 cars behind him. Now, if Williams can crack on with this and Klaas can gain on the back of Dan, that puts Dan under more pressure.
Sorry, mate.
It is. Yeah, sorry, just seeing Clouden there having a look on the outside of Coram. Can't get the move done, though. What did he do, Kelly?
O'Reilly just got it a little bit wrong in the bomb hole. Back end was all squirrely, so he had to kind of collect it all up before he could get back on the power, which put Clouden closer, but not close enough to capitalise. And as you say, Dan's now a second off the back of this.
Yeah.
If an incident happens, he needs to be closer, and he's caught up a little bit now, hasn't he, due to that incident. But
Hibbs is having a look, sorry, Kelly, at the inside of Matt Wright in towards Rich. He's not close enough, pulls back in behind Matt Wright as they go through. That sounded like a corner, dropped it, and it has. It was Williams who's had a moment at turn 1. He's been hit by Cardno. Hibbs avoids, I do believe, because somehow Hibbs has lost out to Goudet, and Cardno and Williams in the dramas there. DeBont is also in the pit lane, not sure why, but Williams' night gets bad to worse, and his back half of the season does not match the performance of Williams at the front half of the season, and that's why DeBont was in. He's done his pit stop.
Certainly that mid part of the season, I thought Williams was on for the championship. He seemed to be unstoppable.
Well, at one stage, it looked like it was a Williams-O'Reilly fight, didn't it? When Silf and Tardock had started to not race as much, it looked like an O'Reilly-Williams championship. And hats off to Dan and Ben for pulling themselves back in this one. You got to think, Dan's got a new wheel from Monza. Had a shock in Monza. Stop-go penalty race 1, put him down the order. Big penalty race 2 for the turn 1 incident, put him down the order. So Dan's had to learn again, sort of, you know, and adapt to a new wheel. And he's been on the back foot. Dan losing even more time. Who's that off in the background? That is the 741 of Stardog, who's gone massively off through Williams. And that is Steve Millington, who is stopped on the grass. Not sure why. Yellow flag's flying. He stopped on the grass.
And as you say, unsure why. Hopefully that'll come clear. The top 5 still... top 4, should I say, very close. Dan's been dropped just a little bit. O'Reilly is pulling in McGowan a little bit, and Clouden's going right with him as well. So, again, if you wanted to start talking team tactics, is Ben backing him up, get Dan back in this hunt? I wouldn't have thought so. But
I don't see why Ben needs to back them up. I think Ben just needs to start to get the hammer down and go, doesn't he?
But if you look at it, if you think it through, if Dan in front of O'Reilly, but behind Ben, benefits Ben.
Oh, it massively benefits Ben, especially after race 1. But at the moment, what you have to say is that...
it's a bit early for that.
I don't know. It's Dan. I'd want more cars between myself and Dan if I was Ben as well. I wouldn't want to bring him into play at all, really. Because you know how opportunistic Dan can be.
Absolutely, and very much so, and that comes with age and experience. You know, and here's me thinking through all these options. I'd be just happy enough to be leading the race, let alone thinking about what I'm going to do to try and hamper the people behind me. Yeah, you know, the older we get, the more we think of these things.
Exactly. John Gooday on the back of Matt Wright with Hibbs behind him. I don't know what happened to Hibbs. I don't know if he had to avoid the incident of Cardno and Williams being spun around at turn 1, because he was behind Matt Wright and then lost out to John, and John wasn't really near the back of them, so unsure what happened there. But John on the back of Wright with Hibbs close to him. Millington's in the pits. We've lost Williams from this race.
Yeah, that's a shame. Oh, Cloudham with a bit of a moment just out of the exit of the bomb hole there. They seem to be struggling through the bomb hole. It is a tricky little corner as well, isn't it, to get right? You get it right, it's on camber. It's like a bomb hole, funnily enough. It sucks you in and spits you out the other side. If you get it right, it's hugely rewarding. You get it wrong, and it really does spit you out the other side.
Well, McGowan's back on that rear wing of Ben Rook here in towards Rich's for turn 1 at the moment. McGowan really trying to give this to Ben Rook and make his evening a little harder than normal. And Dan with Ben and, with O'Reilly and Cloudon now.
Yeah, Dan's come back to the party a little bit now, and Cloudon's still hassling the back of O'Reilly, and very close to him. So good battle. Dan goes a little bit deep.
Oh yeah.
A little bit. It keeps it all together, but again, you know, from Dan's perspective, he can still see first place, and we've got an hour to go.
Yeah, I think Dan would love Cloudon to get past O'Reilly, so that Dan could have a go at O'Reilly more than anything at the moment. I think that's Ben's best hope, is Dan passing O'Reilly where they are for smaller points. If this was without Cloudon and McGowan in the fight, then I don't think Ben's going to give a damn on where Dan and O'Reilly finish. I think it's points over them at the end of the day, and like Chris has just said, too close on points. Dan and Ben are fighting. Also, Ben needs an impartial friend between him and Dan and O'Reilly. Yeah,
I don't think he's got a friend.
I don't think he's got a friend, but what he has got is he's got a McGowan and a Cloudon that are really upsetting the apple cart here. The two McLaren drivers are really,
very racy.
Yeah,
and either one of these could, any one of the top 5 could win this quite easily. So, and they know that.
Well, Leger's had a moment. Sorry, Kelly. Yeah. Leger's off down the Bentley straight, yellow flag. Oh, he's got big damage to the front of his Lamborghini. So we've had Millington's in for a long pit stop. We've had Cardno in for a long pit stop. Williams has retired. DeBont's been in. That looked a regular stop for DeBont. And Leger now big damage to his front, so his race too has not ended the way it would have wanted. Hibbs has passed Goudet though. Goudet's now got Harris on the back of him, and a Rob Ramsell that's coming through charging as well.
It's all getting tasty. Sorry, mate, it's all getting tasty at the front.
Yeah, this is Cloudon, look.
Yeah, McGowan's had some sort of moment. Now O'Reilly's going to go round the outside of him. He's going to be brave to get it done round there. McGowan's got the inside line. Sits. O'Reilly has to tuck back in. This is giving Ben some breathing space. I don't know how that's...
We've just lost Kelly momentarily there, but yeah, I know what Kelly's about.
McGowan just had a bit of a moment, and it's dragged these back into play.
Sorry, Kelly, we just lost you momentarily there, but you're back now.
Am I back?
Yeah, you're back now. We've got you loud and clear. But yeah, McGowan fastest lap definitely had a bit of a bad lap there, because he was struggling, wasn't he, a moment ago? And Ben has got that 1.3 second up. Dan now on the back of Jamal Cloudon. This is looking on board Dan Davis at his view on his Lamborghini at what he can see in front of him. And that is Jamal, the Honda, the McLaren of O'Reilly and Ian McGowan coming through as well. This is going to be a struggle, I think, for Dan, because you've already said it in race 1. Snetterton's not the easiest of places to overtake, and Dan's got to try and not only get ahead of Cloudon, but get ahead of O'Reilly.
Strategy will come into play later. It did in race 1, so over a 70-minute race, it definitely will.
Steve in the chat has just said, Kelly, he's lost all steering, screen went black and it stuck the throttle on, so not sure what has happened to Steve there.
Not good, and he's still in the pits at the moment, so hopefully it'll all come back to him, and I don't know what happened there. Can't tell you on that one, Steve, but unfortunate. And his Cloudon is still bothering the back of O'Reilly. He's within a 10th now. Having a look to the outside on turn 1 ain't going to happen there.
And this is the problem for O'Reilly. He kind of, when you're attacking the car in front, you don't necessarily have to give it your all, but you do not want to let Cloudon through to lose more points to Ben, do you? You want, and also put Dan on the back of you.
Absolutely. You've got to be mindful when Dan's behind you that he's there, and he will. Mr. Opportunist will take any opportunity that he can get, and I'm going to stay on board with Dan a little bit because the race is in front of him is looking good.
It is indeed, just dropping back to Goudet because Harris was within 4/10, but that looks like Goudet stretched his legs on Harris a little bit there, and Harris has got Ramsell now pressuring him, so we're down to possibly 15 drivers with Williams having wheel problems. McGowan's brought the gap right back down to Ben though, Kelly. He's right on the back of Ben Rook.
You've got to say, I think McGowan's got the better pace at this stage of the race. He's got the fastest lap at the moment, and he's just dragged that gap back in again, hasn't he, after his little incident?
Yeah, he has indeed. So Ben's just keeping it all nice and tidy, and what Ben's doing is what he did at Laguna. He's letting everybody around him make the mistakes, and he's just driving his race.
And that's all he needs to do. It doesn't matter if McGowan's right behind him, as long as he can keep him right behind him.
And at the minute, it'll be another 10 points taken from O'Reilly. He already gained 11 over O'Reilly in that first race because of the pole position and the 10 points from race 1. And McGowan's got fastest laps. That's going to play into McGowan's hand. Now, this is going to be interesting to see. 55 minutes still left in this race. This could get juicy towards the end. McGowan now really up the rear wing of Ben, down the start straight towards Ritchie's. There you go, the centre straight as it's named here at Snetterton. Ben's going to make McGowan go the long way round. Ritchie's on the outside, and McGowan breaks and thinks better of that one. Ben's just gone a little deep though. That could open the door for McGowan to have a look, and it will do, into the Wilson hairpin. McGowan on the brakes. Ben's got to fight this round the outside. Hold it strong for Palmer's, but you can't. McGowan a bit of hip and shoulder, nothing wrong with that. Ben flashes the lights, and McGowan leads.
Yes, indeed, and that all started with Ben's slight mistake into turn 1. And McGowan goes a little bit leery out of 3 or 4, and Ben's still right in there. Oh, McGowan's gone deep again. Look, here comes Ben up the inside, Matt. He's going to have a run into McGowan, cuts him off. Nice little chop there. Probably sort of learned that one off the master, Mr. Duffin.
Proud of that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Put your name to that one. Yeah, nice little chop there.
We've got 5 cars for the lead of this race. Danny's just hanging on in there at the back of this train at the moment. It's more a 4-car train for the lead, over 5 at the moment. Danny's just hanging on in there, although Clouden makes a mistake on the exit of Williams. That could open Dan's eyes up a bit, but you're right, it was Ben's mistake going too deep that allowed McGowan to have that sniff at Wilson's hairpin, and through he went. Clouden's mistake has now put him onto Dan and dropped him off. That trio now up front, but all of a sudden Ben's pressure now has to turn to O'Reilly in his mirror, and that one is crucial.
Yeah, I was thinking before that all started, before McGowan got in front, that it wouldn't be the end of the world if he went on. Ben needs to score points over O'Reilly. Unfortunately, at this point in the season, he needs to score as many as possible. So he could really do with taking that race lead back and having the fastest lap, because every point is going to count massively towards the end, because it's going to be very nip and tuck towards the end.
O'Reilly's having a look. Ben cuts him off and says, "You're not getting past there." The problem for Ben is this was his mistake last time. He defended from McGowan. He's learned from his mistake, kept it tighter, and now can then pull across and make sure he defends the inside of Wilson's a little bit over O'Reilly. Ben now coming under increasing amounts of pressure here in this race, and Clouden and Dan. Class isn't a million miles away, behind Dan here. He could be in this scrap soon.
Yeah, Class has just been dropping off a little bit. He was keeping pace with him, just slipping back just a tiny bit. But an incident or mistake from some of these top 5, and he'll be right back in it. Turn 1's a funny one, Matt. It isn't really. You can't really overtake in turn 1, but when you get it wrong, you can certainly set it up for the hairpin. And I would have thought it's better to be slightly slower in turn 1, so you're still able to defend for the hairpin than overdoing turn 1, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, the only way you're overtaking turn 1 is if you're fully alongside on the inside line, isn't it?
Yeah.
Out of the Murray's final corner, but McGowan pulled the move off. He was one who made Ben defend, and Ben just carried too much speed in, and now we've got O'Reilly and Clouden on the back here. Goudet still with Harris, and he's got Rob Ramsell right there for company as well. Ramsell will be looking to get past John and get another top 10. Class currently looking for back-to-back gold wins here tonight here at Snetterton. But yes, at the moment you have to say Ian McGowan, great opening couple of laps, stuck with Ben, had that one lap that put him in O'Reilly's clutches. It didn't faze McGowan, did it? He stuck with it and managed to come back out on top.
Do you believe that was, you were saying about a couple of rookie mistakes from Ben? Do you feel that might have been one, that turn one mistake cost him?
Yes, yeah.
It obviously cost him, you know, but yeah, do you feel he'll learn from that?
I hope so, because I think this is the point with Ben, isn't it? Is it was, you know, just that one little rookie error as John's looking up the inside of Harris and Rob looks to the outside of John and John backs out of that. Harris, big snap, well held. John now's going to look to the inside of the Wilson hairpin, doesn't do it, backside of it. Yeah, I think for Ben it was just his, oh no, John may get it done here. Harris has gone a little deep. No, gets out the corner, fine does that Audi, and Harris stays on top. But yeah,
Clouden
Ben's
having a go.
just...
Sorry.
Go on. Oh, Dan's had a moment as well. I've just gone back to the Clouden fight as you mentioned it. Dan's dropped right into the clutches of class.
Yeah, he's dropped back. He must have had a mistake. Clouden just had a go at O'Reilly. Tried to go around the outside, and O'Reilly kept his line and was able to defend that reasonably easily. But Clouden looking racy tonight, and he's not letting O'Reilly get away. That's for certain.
No, he's not at all. And what a day this could be for Ben Rupp, pulling points back on his championship rivals. He's already got ahead of Dan. He now needs to close that gap in on Clouden a little bit. Well, he's not closing that gap to McGowan. McGowan setting the timing screens alight. He is pulling away from Ben here, lap after lap. Last time around was 3/10 quicker than Ben in this race. So an interesting one for McGowan. But O'Reilly is feeling the pressure from Clouden. As much as he wants to try and attack Ben, Clouden is no slouch. He will really give it his all to get past.
Absolutely, and he's doing exactly that. Dan now with a bit of work to do. Let's see what Dan's pace is, see if he can catch back up to this leading battle. But McGowan looking very comfortable now, starting to stretch his lead a little bit. He's comfortable out in front and very much a contender to take this for the win, isn't he?
He is indeed. Keep your eyes on Class. What will Class do to Dan in terms of attacking him? That's going to be an interesting one. Ramsell's still on the back of Goudet, with Goudet not far off the back of Harris as well. So a little fight developing there. Matt Wright and Hibbs are kind of in a world of their own at the moment, as is DeBont, Leisure, Stardog and Cardno after their pit stops. Millington's obviously not got his wheel working yet. Just looking at the last lap times, Dan Davis, I tell you what, a 47.7 was, Clouden was a 47.8, O'Reilly was a 47.6. It must have been the lap before that Dad had a bad lap.
Yeah, he certainly lost a couple of seconds somewhere. We didn't say where. I've been sat on board with Clouden for the last couple of laps, just watching him, so I didn't see what happened to Dan, but an incident somewhere.
Let's see what happens in this race at the moment. Ben slow out of the last corner, last few laps, says Rob Smith. It can be really bad for Rupp, says Berserker. What is the tyre wear like around here? Not too sure, because we didn't get Pro-Am. We've not really had the insight of what the Pro-Am drivers were doing in terms of the tyre wear, so we're not 100% sure what the tyre wear is like. And obviously some of the guys that would have got some data from the Pro-Am drivers also won't know this. So unless they've done a long run, you know, we're not going to know what tyre wear is like, to be fair. It's not overly hot. It's only 27 degrees track temperature and 20 degrees ambient, so it's not like it was Cota as... Oh, Clouden sells a dummy into the pit lane there. I thought he was going to box, but didn't. It's not like it's overly hot at the moment, is it, Kelly? So we'll see what tyres are like at the end.
It's overly hot in my room, that's for sure. I'm absolutely sweating like mad, like I'm racing. But enough about that. Conditions have changed slightly, haven't they? Because you said there's less cloud than there has been all week. I don't think that'll make a lot of difference. And as you say, it's not temperatures we have had this season. It's mere 20 degrees.
John's wide out of riches. This is going to allow Rob to have the inside line into the Wilson hairpin. And John, who's a little wide, has to give Ramsell the room and does so when Ramsell goes through. So that's Ramsell up to P10, John down to 11th.
Yes, indeed. The back end of Ramsell's car looking already a little bit beaten there. As he has a bit of a moment on traction.
Yeah, this could allow John to have a look up the inside into Agostini. Not close enough. John stays behind. Class last lap. 2 tenths quicker than Dan Davis. And Clouden dipping into the 46s last time around. All the leaders are in the 47s pretty comfortably. So at the minute, Class looking quicker than Dan and Clouden looking quicker than the 3 in front.
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't quite see what happened, but Clouden has just dropped off the back of O'Reilly a little bit now, and O'Reilly is right on the back of Ben Rook. And but I think there's more about Clouden's had a little moment, a bit of a slide or something. But he's just dropped off the back a little bit.
O'Reilly was a little wide through Coram there, so I'm not sure what that is all about. But let's see what happens then. So at the moment, McGowan, 1.5 seconds. That seems to have stuck to around a 1.5 seconds. He's got the lap traffic of Cardno and Stardog coming up for company in a moment. They've obviously had big pit stops early on. And Clouden keeps that gap under a second. O'Reilly loses a couple of tenths final sector. But yeah, interesting. Just ebbing and flowing at the minute, Kelly, between the front three, and Dan's managed to just pull slightly away from class on that last lap.
Yes, he's gapped him a little bit and started to come back towards the leaders a little bit. I mean, it's fine margins, isn't it?
Yeah, indeed it is. It's going to be an interesting one. We'll keep our eyes on anything that happens there. So let's see what happens. From what I'm reading on Discord, Steve Millington's wheel had disconnected. Right. And left the throttle on, and he's apologised to Stardog. So I'm wondering if that's why Stardog had an early pit stop and a long one, and that is possibly why he was off in the background, because Steve obviously couldn't be helped with the wheel issues. Ben still got O'Reilly for company. O'Reilly just staying to about 8 tenths to Clouden. Clouden's 2 seconds ahead of Dan now, so Clouden's got the gap to Dan comfortably, and Dan 9 tenths to class. Dan will just need to not make any mistakes. We saw in race 2 last week, Dan just made one too many mistakes. That's what cost him in chasing O'Reilly and Ben down.
Yes, apparently so. And I think it's a case of, I mean, the leaders seem to have, a pace, and Dan just can't seem to have that extra as he bangs across the sausage curve, which isn't helping his campaign. But you know what it's like, Matt. We've been there as well as anybody. Yeah. You see those three in the distance and think, I just need to pull up behind them, but they're doing the same sort of lap times you are. It's so incredibly difficult, and
especially when you're matching each other. Look at this. Dan was only 2 tenths quicker than O'Reilly and 4 tenths quicker than Ben last time around. Not this lap just done, but the one before. O'Reilly pulls out, whether that's a half defend on Clouden or a half look at Ben. He's already seen that Ben's made one mistake at turn 1 to open the door for turn 2. That is Cardno getting out the way of McGowan. Clouden attacking the back of O'Reilly there.
Yep.
We're getting a little interesting here, aren't we? Clouden's having a few looks.
I think Clouden had a look. I jumped back on just as that was happening. I think Clouden had a look. I think O'Reilly defended quite heavily, to be honest, probably a little bit more than he needed to.
Cardno moves out the way for these three as well. Does not want to part to that.
Good job,
Gap down to Clouden now. Clouden's just set the fastest lap of the race. Now, it hasn't taken a point away from Dan or Ben or O'Reilly, because it was McGowan who had it previously. But Dan's now 3.1 behind Clouden. Yes, Dan's opened that gap back up to class, but Clouden's pulling away even more.
I think Dan had a scruffy lap, the last one. I think that was a bit. He had a scruffy lap. So, but we'll see. Well, you'll see when the times come up. I say you. Well, I just can't. What can I see?
Dan was a 48.0. Lost 9 tenths to O'Reilly, 6 tenths to Ben. Lost nearly 1 point. He lost near enough a second to. No, he did. He lost 1.6 seconds to Clouden on the last lap. Clouden did a 46.4. So he is flying.
Yeah, he's flying, but he can only go as fast as what's in front of him. As they come across another back mark, is that Stardog?
Stardog, yep. That is not the place to be lapping Stardog.
That's a great place to be. No, that's not a great
got
place
through
for
as well. Stardog now with Cardno on the back of him. So Dan's not got past Cardno yet, but that could have ended in tears. That is not the place to be lapping somebody. Fair play to Stardog. Got out the way, kept well out the way as well. So fair play to Stardog. Let's not make no mistakes here. Dan's pitting. That seems a strange time to be pitting in terms of strategy. So let's see what happens there for Dan Davis. Is he clearly thinking of doing something different?
It might be a change of mindset. Something different and a change of mindset. Get out of that chasing the guys in front of you and just work on being consistent on lap times.
Well, the bonus for Dan is it looks like Ramsell, yes, he has, it's just come up. Ramsell's pitted as well, so that's one less car that Dan will have to overtake. Dan's not taking tyres there, so that is a splash and dash. He's in and out like a shot. So Dan's behind Goudet. Dan's just coming into turn 1 while Goudet's just entering turn 2. So he's got a bit of clear air, but then he's got Goudet, Harris, Hibbs and Wright within close company before the big gap back to class. Did Dan think of getting in before because of the lap traffic?
Yeah, possibly. And I mean, it's, you know, you've got to be incredibly smart to work out where your gaps are as well. But maybe he thought he could drop into a gap, you know, and get some clean air, because there's a lot of lap traffic they seem to be going through. And they said maybe it's just a case of changing his mindset, not focusing in the cars that he's trying to chase, and just focus on getting his head down.
Well, the thing for Dan now is he's got hope and pray that if he catches up to the 4 in front of him, again, of Goudet, Harris, Hibbs and Wright, that they make stops before he gets there, because he's not what he's not going to want to do is be stuck behind them for any amount of time.
No. 8 seconds behind my... I don't know if it's my internet or...
No, we've had a connection failure.
I just said, oh, Christ.
And there was left of the race there? 42 minutes. So we are going to go to a quick break. Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. We've had a G-Portal issue, which has meant that the server had gone down momentarily. We have sorted this issue, and me and the other admins have taken the decision to do a 40-minute race in which we only lose 1 minute and 15, I think it was, in that race. And the grid order will be set based off of the positions that drivers was. So McGowan will be on pole for this race, subsequently meaning that Dan will start in 10th because he just pitted. Now, the way we've decided this is a red flag in the real motorsport. You have to start then in the position of where you was on that final lap. We've taken this from the moment of disconnect and not from the final lap, as per our rules and regulations. And that is where we have gone from. So for Dan Davis, that is a real kick in the teeth because all the drivers will have to pit again, Kelly.
Yes, absolutely, and it's totally out of our control. If you think this is anything to do with SimPlay, it's absolutely not. It's totally out of our control, and still a modern problem of sim racing. We were just talking off air about it, and it's one of those things that needs to be sharpened up in the sim racing world, but nothing we can do about it. So what it does actually make is, for you, the viewers, another race, basically, and another opportunity for some of these drivers. Yes, the likes of Dan will miss out, but other ones will benefit. So, it's for you guys at home. Happy days. You've got a different prospect on your hands. So that's what we kind of have to go with, isn't it? With the rough and the smooth on this.
Yeah, this is now where we're at, where it's. We've had these server issues all season. We can only apologise to you, the viewer, and to all the drivers that are trying to take part in a championship here at SimPlay Motorsport. This is not what we want to provide, obviously, as a league trying to run a competitive championship. But it is out of our control. We have no control in this, and you have to feel for every driver that's trying to take part in this season. But tonight you have to spare a thought for Dan Davis, because he's the one who's was trying to hunt down Ben and O'Reilly. Was just trying to alter his strategy a little bit, and he's now got to start from 10th.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, as you just said, and the admins were chatting, if you have a red flag in real life, then these things get reset, and you have to roll with what you've got. I mean, we don't have engine failures as such, and but we have our own problems as a sim league. There's nothing we can do about it, except dust ourselves off and try and make the best of it. So and that's exactly what the likes of Dan's going to have to do. Who else missed out? I mean, Patrick Ledger had a disconnection at the start. He hasn't gone a lot further forward.
It was from Dan down that had all pitted.
Yeah.
Stardog and Cardno had just been lapped, so it kind of benefits them. They are now on the back. DeBont and Dan and Ramsel and Ledger had all pitted and were still on the same lap. Chris saying, does the others still have to pit? Like Rob Smith just said, everybody now has to pit. Tips is saying you admins can only make the best of what the game and the servers deal you.
Yep,
exactly right. Benny Archer, if only
yep.
WRC let us all be on stage at the same time, that'd be quite good. Arthur Daly saying only 15 in, could have padded it out with some pro-ams. We did offer it to the pro-ams last night, Arthur, but they didn't want to, so we didn't do that. If you have a red flag in the real world, everyone gets a free pit stop. That is true, Michael, but everybody's still got to pit. So we've kind of gone that... We did explore the option of people not pitting at all.
Yeah.
But there was half the grid pretty much that had pitted, so we went with the option that everybody's got to pit. So them 6 that had pitted have got to pit again. So we did.
It's unfortunate, but it's the best.
We did talk
best
about
solution.
The option of that.
Yeah. Best solution on the fly that we can come up with. Arthur Daly, good to see you. How's Terence? Is he all right? Probably target reference for you, that, isn't it, Arthur Daly?
Not a clue.
Not a clue.
No.
Yeah. Classic TV show from the 80s, Minder. Look it up. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Yeah. It's a bloody changing world, isn't it?
There we go. Arthur Daly says that Michael Harris is in the rules. I don't think we've had a rule for that, because normally we've not had these server issues that we've had this season, Arthur. So normally it's in the rule that if we get to 3/4 distance, we issue half points. So I don't think there's anything in the rules to say they will do pit stops or pit stops will be removed. That may be something that we have to discuss going forward as an admin team, but myself and the admin team took it upon us as quick as we could that everybody has to pit, and that's the decision we came up with.
I think it's the best one, to be honest with you, regardless, what anyone says. as I say, he's making the best of the best situation to give you guys some sort of show and keep the championship alive. As I said, it's something we can't beat. And you know, in the real world of motorsport, every scenario has been, or most scenarios have been tested over the years, where, you know, different scenarios are presented in front of us, and we have to make the best of them as and when we can. So, you know, one for the admin teams to chat over in the off season and whatever, to put a contingency in place if this happens again. But, you know, as I say, on the fly, we have to deal with it. So this is what you got. So sit back, get yourself a drink, love it.
Fury's granddad saying, I remember mine, Dick Kelly.
Yeah, good
Fury's
man.
granddad remembers
Brilliant.
the war, so, you know, I'm not surprised there. Paul Williams.
Which one? The first one?
Both, yeah. Paul Williams says that G-Port will need a stern talking to. At least the pros get to race and make the best of the situation, like us pro-ams last night.
Yeah.
It's all you can do. And Benny's saying 40 minutes is better than no minutes. A race is a race. Let's go green and get some action. Hope you, Mr. Davis, hope you and Mr. Davis are doing well, Duffman. Duffman is doing well, and Mr. Davis is as well.
He's doing fantastic.
Well, we've got a brief moment then. Go into that description, and while you're there, check out our fantastic sponsors, Design Manchester, producers of vinyl graphics, laser engraved gifts, mugs, printed clothing, and much more, including SimPlay Motorsport merchandise. Head over to their Facebook page, link is in the description, and go to Audio Sport, who he says it every week we mention it. He needs to change this, but manufacturers of VW Transporter, T4 audio solutions, and styling products, and T5. Head over to www.audiosport.co.uk and check out their Facebook page. Links are all in the description for both our fantastic sponsors there. Fury's granddad's just called us cheeky. Berserker says another great stream quality. Another great quality stream. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Berserker, for that. And tips, you've got to make a snap decision. If it creates issues later, that can be looked at, but we get a race to watch.
Exactly right. Show must go on, as a very famous singer once sang.
Phil Collins.
No, nothing
Madonna.
like it. Nothing like it. Freddie Mercury.
I knew who it was.
Yeah, of course you did. Like you knew what Minder was. Yeah.
No, I actually knew that Freddie Mercury sang that. Minder, not a clue.
Okay, one of Freddie's best performance.
McGowan's just had to come to a brief halt there because he was a bit ahead of his pit box. He doesn't want to get a penalty for that one. We are about to go green. Full round 22 of the season. We're down to the 15 cars. Millington and Williams are not allowed to rejoin. They had, DNF'd from the race effectively. We get going again in this one. And it's McGowan from Rook. McGowan had a 2-second lead. Let's not forget, all that has gone out the window. It's green and go. McGowan and Ben side by side, nearly door to door as we head down into Richie's for the third start of this Snetterton race. Ben on the outside. Cloudon's looking round around the outside of O'Reilly. Ben's taken the lead. Cloudon's got O'Reilly. McGowan's put him on the grass. That's allowed O'Reilly back up the inside into the Wilson hairpin here then. O'Reilly and Cloudon going at it. Dan was down in 10th, so he's got to be cautious on this race start not to get it wrong. We all get through cleanly. Everybody's away. Where's Dan? Behind Goudet, so he stays P10. In fact, no, he's lost out of place at the moment.
Harris went round out of turn one. Dan got in front of Goudet, but
we've lost Harris. Harris is gone.
He was in a spin last time I saw him, I don't know what happened after that, but then John had the inside line and got Dan redone into the thing. So Dan with loads and loads to do, but Ben Rook with an excellent start. Yeah, Ben Rook took the lead. McGowan put Jamal onto the grass, so that'll annoy Cloudon a little bit because Cloudon had got past O'Reilly. He's now battling with Class. Then it's Matt Wright, Hibbs from Goudet, from Davis, who's up to 9th. So he gained a place because of Harris's now disconnection. De Bont's 10th. Go on, sorry. McGowan with a scruffy exit, and now he's got O'Reilly trying to go round the outside of him as they go under the bridge. It's going to be interesting there if O'Reilly can put it in. He thinks better of it. Probably a very smart move from Kieran there. He had to run but backed out of it. Hard to get down the inside of that unless you're Ash Sutton.
So Dan's gained one place since the restart of this race, but Ben has got a commanding lead out front from McGowan with O'Reilly. Then it's Jamal Cloudon, Class from Matt Wright, from Hibbs, from Goudet, from Davis, from De Bont, from Ramsell, from Ledger, from Cardno, from Stardog. Dan's going to be under pressure from De Bont, you feel here, and this could put Dan on the back foot. Dan's now got a clear. Goudet is right hassling the back of John Goudet at the minute. O'Reilly tucked under the rear wing of that of McGowan, Matt Wright and De Bont both pits. So Dan's not got to deal with De Bont at the moment, but they're all pitting now from the from Matt Wright and De Bont, the only two that pit. McGowan hangs in there over that of O'Reilly, and John was just a little wide, in the background. I was watching that. That's going to allow Dan right up the inside, and Dan moves up to P8.
Yes, he does. And De Bont dived into the pits. I thought De Bont was going to give Dan a hard time when Dan was behind some gold drivers there, but he bailed to the pits. Dan is past Gooday, goes a bit wide on the exit there. Dan trying quite hard at the moment, but back up front, we're kind of almost back the same as we were, except
Ben's in front of McGowan. That's about it. So that's where we are. I can only assume pit stops, Kelly, are going to be splash and dashes. I don't think anybody's going to take tyres in 40 minutes. I think it's fuel to the end.
Surely. It has taken that element away, but yeah, it's got to be in it. You wouldn't bother, would you?
No, I personally wouldn't. So Ben with a commanding lead at the moment. Ignore his fastest laps. It was the start of the race. We'll not look into that at the moment. Chris, like Rob says, it's a fresh start. Fuel strategies change. We imagine, I'm not going to give anything away again, but we imagine that everybody's going to go to the end of this race and just do a splash and dash pit stop. But Ben, away from O'Reilly, where's Dan? Has he got onto the back of Hibbs? He has, but hasn't got past Hibbs. So it's another lap that he's just stuck watching them leaders just pull away.
Absolutely. FBR Whitcomb saying, if you don't know Arthur Daly and Terry McCann, you need to have a word with yourself. Have a word with yourself, Matt. And he's off there. Can you hear him in the background typing on his key? Minder, that's what you want to be looking at. Great series.
I know him. I don't know him from the series, but I know the actor. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
George Cole, wasn't it? George Cole?
I've closed it down now. So
or Dennis Waterman was Terry McCann. He was very famous.
Hibbs has pulled into the pit, so he's made that easy for Dan to get ahead of Hibbs. So Dan can now head after this train of cars at the moment, being backed up by McGowan, O'Reilly, Cloud, and Class, and Dan. So Dan is pretty much one place back from where he was before his pit stop.
Yeah, so it's Dan again going wide, but Class did the same and went a bit squirrely on exit. So Dan is dragging himself back up to this lead battle. So it could pan out better than we thought. Ben is gone. 3 seconds out.
Checked out. If you remember, he checked out from McGowan early on. McGowan come on to Ben as the race went on. So let's see if McGowan comes on to Ben as the race goes on again. Because McGowan seemed to... Track limits aren't too bad.
Okay.
But yeah, let's see if McGowan can just get that pace he found in race one, because he's definitely caught up to him as the race went on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I say about track limits, because Dan is abusing them. Something rotten at the moment. He's got to be careful that he doesn't have a bit of a moment, but he's pulling up to the back of Class now as the Ben extends his lead a little bit further, now over 3 seconds, as he starts to stretch his legs a little bit, and this is what he needs. McGowan needs to kind of switch it back on again from where he was in the first part of this race, and but Dan's coming.
He's within a second now of Class, and he might be just under a second as we get across the start line here. Let's have a look now. He is, look, half a second there. Their timing screen a little further down the line. Cardno comes into the pit, so he's got not longer going to put pressure on Rob Ramsell for the rest of this race. So let's see what happens here now. Rob's obviously going to try and get onto the back of John. That's where he was before the red flag, as we're going to call it. But at the minute, like I say, Ben checking out up front, keeps that fastest lap. Clouden not sticking with O'Reilly as much as he was earlier on, and McGowan being hassled a little bit more by O'Reilly.
And it's surprising. Nothing much has changed. The temperature's exactly the same. Nothing much has changed. They may have rejiggled their fuel. Well, they would have had to, wouldn't they? Because they would have started on whatever their setup was. So if that was full fuel, they would have had to have changed their fuel settings. But as I said, McGowan not looking as racy as he was. Clouden not looking as racy as he was at this time. Yeah. Dan's got the inside line. Class went a little bit deep. Dan's not able to capitalise on this set of corners as they come out into the back straight, and Dan is right on the back wing of Class, but he's going to have to try and go around the outside. That's going to be interesting. He might... he's got it done. Class let him go. Let him go. Yeah,
did Class let him go, or did he get a poor run out of Williams? It's going to be an interesting one to see. 100% was a lot slower. Excuse me, but Dan now back up to where he was before the pit stops in the first race. O'Reilly hassling the back of McGowan with Clouden just sat behind at the moment. McGowan just looks like he's opening that gap up a little bit. Dan now's got about 2.5 to Clouden, which is what it was roughly before the pit stop. So Dan is back in that same position at the moment.
Yeah, he's back in the hunt, and it may be that Rook has got less fuel, but Ben's faster when he's if he's sober. I just missed that comment because I had a pop-up come up. I didn't read that properly, but certainly hang on a minute, we'll get rid of that. Yeah, Dan's back in this hunt for sure.
McGowan, fastest lap of the race. Sorry, Kelly.
Here he comes. Right, McGowan might have got himself in the kind of window that he wants. The fuel thing's going to be relative, isn't it? They still need enough fuel to finish the race.
Yeah, they're going to be now pretty much on the same fuel, I'd imagine, there or thereabouts, depending on their cars.
Yeah, but they are going to have fresher tyres, I suppose.
Yes.
But
what was it? So 41 minutes. So it was about half an hour in. We was only 6 minutes away from being at half distance of the race. So yeah, they're going to have fresher tyres by at least 20 odd minutes.
Absolutely. O'Reilly is ebbing and flowing with McGowan and O'Reilly. McGowan, well, as we know, just on the fastest lap of the race, but O'Reilly's still there, just with his hand on his shoulder of McGowan as they come back onto the back straight once again. Still 3.1 out in front is Ben Rook, and they're dropping Clouden a little bit. And Dan hasn't dragged Clouden in the last lap or so, so we'll see how he progresses. Oh, yeah, it's all quite interesting, isn't it?
Yeah, just watching this fight between Leger and De Bont down for 11th and 12th at the moment. But remember, them two have made their pit stop, so they're done. McGowan fastest lap. So let's see. Looks like that gap's opened up a bit more than 3/10 again to him and O'Reilly. Looks like McGowan has a much better final sector than O'Reilly, doesn't it? Gap's 2.9 to Ben. See if McGowan's brought that down. That's your biggest place for track limits, Kelly, running too wide on the exit of Murray's.
Yeah, that's as I said earlier. That is a very tricky corner, and it's you carry so much speed before you get there, and then it just jumps out at you, doesn't it? Like you kind of like slowing for it, and you think I'm slowing enough, and then you just shoot right past it and onto the exit. So and easy to go track limits. So as we saw with McGowan just then.
Well, this is O'Reilly's current view of the back of McGowan at the moment. And going to be an interesting one to keep our eyes on this fight, because O'Reilly seems to, like Kelly said, ebb and flow in the sectors between these two. McGowan to Ben down to 2.7, so McGowan finding that groove, and it took him a few laps last time, didn't it, to just get onto the back of Ben and then finally make that move. Now he's slowly creeping in, and if they're only splash and dash into the end, well, then this could be an interesting one for McGowan to just try and hunt Ben down instead of doing the strategy that McGowan was on. I can't always remember which one he was on, but yeah, this could be an interesting one.
Yeah, Dan just bringing the gap down to Clouden now, about the same gap back from O'Reilly to Clouden as there is to Clouden
Dan's got fastest lap as well.
He has got fastest lap, so he's finding his feet, and this could all shape up right towards the end. This could. Remember, we've all got lots of pit stops yet to do. Certainly these top 9 have still yet to pit. The other guys have taken early pit stops. De Bont will be later on, will be the one to watch. Remember, he was right with Dan when he pitted.
Yeah, he was.
But now he's less than a second behind Pratchett Leisure and hunting him down. So this could stunt his progress a little bit. We'll see how that one pans out, but don't count out De Bont being there or thereabouts towards the end.
And let's not forget that the traffic wasn't a massive thing for Ben in race 1. Stuck behind Williams for a lap and managed to jump Dan and O'Reilly by some margin in race 1. He had great pace. I'm not going to take that away from him, but it wasn't like the traffic had slowed him down much at all. 28 minutes left in this race. And it is Rook from McGowan, from O'Reilly, from Jamal, who's just not been able to stick with O'Reilly as much in this one. Then Dan. Dan and Clouden have had a few battles in the past. They are very much two drivers who love a scrap. And Clouden's not going to be one of them to get out of Dan's way just because he's in a championship fight. He'll race him as hard as he races everybody.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And I was just trying to read, I'm trying to watch the action as O'Reilly right on the back of McGowan, but I'm also trying to read the chat as well. And Tim's not rating McGowan's pit stops, so we'll see how that pans out.
Indeed it is. This is on board with De Bont looking at the back of Legier's car down towards Agostini. There you go. And I thought that Ferrari wasn't going to stop there, but he manages to get it stopped in time as they head in. O'Reilly now within a tenth of McGowan. McGowan's had a bit of a poor lap, and we saw him have a poor lap in the first start to this race, in which put him on the back foot going into O'Reilly. That's when then McGowan started to find his feet. So maybe this is McGowan going through a little phase again where he's then just going to close that gap. But it's open up to 3.4 to Ben Rook, and McGowan just needing to settle back into a nice rhythm in this race. Well, it's going to be an interesting one, that is for sure, Kelly. No doubt about it that this is going to be one to keep our eyes on here.
Yeah, you say about settling into a rhythm. You settle into a rhythm with Kieran O'Reilly crawling all over the back spool of your car. It was not a place I want to be, you know. But to be in front of Kieran Riley on pace, I'd take that. You know,
out-qualified him, didn't he? He didn't just get there, in the race. He did it on merit in the qualifying session.
He did.
So fair play to McGowan. Cracking night for McGowan in this one. So we are now over that half-race distance because that was 35 minutes left on the clock. In terms of the overall 1 hour 10, O'Reilly pulls out to have a look at Agostini. Is it going to be a move? No, it's not. It's just to show the nose. McGowan goes a little deep, but O'Reilly's just not close enough to capitalise on exit.
McGowan's making a couple of mistakes in this last half lap, or most lap, this lap or so, to be fair. And I think Kieran is just trying to distract him, trying to force those errors a bit more often. That's what I think he's trying to do a little bit there. Back end of McGowan's McLaren looking a little bit loose on traction on some of these corners. O'Reilly's got a run on him now. He's going to the outside. Is he going to get it done?
He has.
He's got it done easily.
Yeah, so
again another easy pass down that straight.
I'm just wondering if drivers are having a moment through Williams. Is that what's causing them to lose more time and momentum?
That much, Matt.
We thought Clace got off the throttle to let Dan through, but look at the gap O'Reilly's got over McGowan. I would suggest that maybe Clace didn't let Dan through, and maybe if you're having a big GT4s on Tuesday night, the Who Darren Cup. You had a big slide or got over that curb. That curb is very bumpy on the outside of Williams. You did lose a lot of time, so yeah, fair enough. We'll see what happens here. But O'Reilly's now up to second on the back of Ben.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe. I don't see for 1 minute why McGowan would back out of it. To
That's
let
what I mean.
O'Reilly through.
Yeah, I think he's just had a big moment through Williams.
But he didn't seem to be that much of a moment. I mean, O'Reilly had a run on him, and then he just seemed to pass him McGowan. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I just don't get it, to be honest. But, yeah, we'll see. Well, I'm not in the car, so I can't say.
McGowan's now got Clouden on the back of him, and Dan is with Clouden as well. So O'Reilly's pulled away from McGowan a little bit. Oh, Dan's running a bit too much curb there.
He's doing a lot of that.
Watch out for that one. I didn't see that one ping up too many track limits Tuesday night, and we can only reference Tuesday night. Dan nearly in the back of Clouden there. That would have been a nervy moment for Dan Davis. Definitely a heart-in-mouth moment for him.
Yeah. I don't know about heart-in-mouth. That was a Brown moment for sure. I thought he was going to clamp right into the back of Clouden there, but he managed to get it stopped. Just about, and it did compromise his line. So we've got a scrap on here now. We've got Davis, Clouden and McGowan are going to go right at it. This is going to give the opportunity for O'Reilly and Ben to pull away. Ben already 4 seconds ahead. Dan's on the lights now. Touring car tactics on the back of Clouden. Flash of the lights. We love it, don't we, Matt?
We do love flashing. A good flashing lights here, especially as a touring car fan.
Yeah, me and Matt love it. No, not everyone loves it, but me and Matt like flashing.
Jamal just a little wide out to Nelson there, just onto that outside curb again. Another tricky one just to hit when you go on the outside through the bomb hole in towards Coram. There you go now. So this has just allowed McGowan to pull away a little bit. McGowan's looked strong in this final sector though, all race to be fair. He's looked really good coming through the Brundle, Nelson, bomb hole, Coram, Murray's section. And Cloud now is going to have to try and head after him, but Dan he's still there. I feel like Dan lost a little bit out the final corner.
Yes, he absolutely did. Yeah, he pulled up on him, and for whatever reason didn't get the traction. I don't know how the Lamborghini performs, so I can't really say. But the two McLarens in front of him pulled out of that last corner.
There we go, Kelly. We can confirm that Gowney did lift. Tips, his race engineer, apparently told him not to, but he won't listen. So didn't listen to his race engineer, Leger, just bouncing over the outside curb. And this could give to Bont the run on the outside down towards Ritchie's now. McGowan probably doesn't want to get in that championship squabble and be the one to get involved in it. Leger and De Bont side by side. De Bont on the outside breaks earlier and thinks better of it. Clouden and Dan. Dan's drop still not gained onto the back of Clouden since the final corner of the last lap. So interesting one at the moment. McGowan's still in a good P3. I know it could have been a race win for him, but let's take nothing away from this P3 that he's currently in.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, he's lining up for my driver of the day at the moment. I just don't see why you wouldn't have defended it. I mean, I don't know. Maybe, yeah, as you say, it's not a championship fight. But he, that was the bond nearly getting into the back of Patrick. A lot of people doing that. A lot of people just misjudging their braking a little bit. And again, Dan not pulling up to the back of Clouden again. He was kind of there, and then he dropped back, and hadn't quite got the ultimate pace, has he? I know Riley hasn't got away. No, really.
He hasn't. McGowan's still within a second of him, and we'll see what it is, because McGowan seems to have a really strong final sector. So
Dan's in the pits.
This going to put McGowan? Dan's pitted. McGowan actually loses time in that final sector last time around. Are we okay there, Kelly? We're hearing a lot of headset adjustments.
Sorry, yeah. I'm trying to just plug in my charger
there we go.
And talk at the same time. That's why it sounds like I'm having a fight with a Dalek.
At the moment,
you know what a Dalek is, don't you?
I know what a Dalek is. Yeah, I was an avid Doctor Who fan back in the day.
I was
not anymore.
Neil, David Tennant.
Yeah, massive David Tennant. Yeah.
Of course, best Doctor there ever was.
After that, I started to stop watching it.
Yeah, we all did. Best Doctor there was. Although not my Doctor as a kid, because that would have been Tom Baker. There's another target reference for the oldies out there. Tom Baker as Doctor Who.
Legisla on the back then. De Bont's on the back of Leger. And Ramsell's got within a second of Goudet. He was having a fight with Goudet, but he was also one that had dropped down the order because of a pit stop before the red flag. So Ramsell trying to get back up that order a little bit. Dan is now the lead runner of the pit stops, and this is going to be an interesting thing to watch at the moment, to see Dan's progression now.
Yeah, absolutely. Can he then, again, like we said in the first race, can he get his head down and stop concentrating on the cars in front of him and concentrate on lap times? Is that Dan's strategy? Get himself out of a situation that was going nowhere? Could be. Again, O'Reilly hasn't pulled away from McGowan, and McGowan hasn't pulled away from Clouden. And to be fair, Ben is a steady gap at around 3.5, 4 seconds at the moment. So all pretty stagnant at the sharp end. And just at the moment, not a great deal going on anywhere else. De Bont hasn't cleared Leisure, although he's round the outside as I go on to them. And Patrick right deep to the inside of the corner. And they touch a little bit. De Bont just tried to do the switchback and just taps the back of.
Remember, these two had a drama at that same corner in race one.
They did have,
Leger then unsafe rejoined in front of Goudet. Now, I've just worked it out. 17.5 minutes left of this race. Any time after that, if the server goes down again, will be half points for today's race. I've just worked that out just in case anything happens. Fury's granddad, a.k.a. Tony, a long-time viewer of the channel, been here since day one. I can remember the first Doctor. Again, Tony.
Jesus. God,
again, Tony,
right
do you know what I mean?
White, then.
Exactly, World War One kind of stuff. That is, I'm sure. But Tony,
they didn't have Doctor Who in World War One.
No, you never know.
Yeah, it was the mid '60s, I think, the original Doctor Who, and it would have been in black and white. Yeah.
They were the days, I'm sure. Now McGowan's still over a second behind O'Reilly. Clouden within 7/10 of McGowan. At the moment, Class 9 seconds behind. Then it's Goudet who's pulled away from Rob Ramsell a little bit. Then it's Stardog 6 seconds back to Dan. Dan's going to hope that Stardog pits here. He's kind of in that window again, Dan is, where he wants to hope that the others in front of him pit before he catches them. So let's see. The real fight at the moment is that Leger de Bont battle, but Clouden getting closer to McGowan. We're going to stick with Leger and de Bont at the moment and keep our eyes on the Clouden and McGowan time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're in the chat, and Tib saying Gowie's race engineer may be looking for a new job. Bloody drivers won't listen. I know they think they know best, don't they?
Cloudon's in.
I would say that I'm looking for a race engineer, but I have to commentate with him as well. So I'll stick with the one we got for a minute.
I hope you're out on a Wednesday night.
Yeah.
Oh, Dan's made a mistake. There's a yellow flag with Dan Davis, and Matt Wright's got past him at the bomb hole. So Dan Davis has had a yellow flag around his number, didn't see what had happened, just caught the yellow flag moment, but Matt Wright has got past Dan Davis. So troubles for Dan. Jamal's out the pit. Well, he's lost a lot of time because, look, Jamal is through turn one. Dan's nowhere near turn one at the moment. Brakes now for it. So Dan's lost a lot of time. And he's got to fight Matt Wright for position.
Yes, indeed. How heavily Matt Wright fights him for it, well, we'll wait and see. Yeah, that's another disaster for Dan. It's really not panning out as his night when his teammate and his other rival is pulling away in first and second. This championship is just slipping away now.
Yeah, it is indeed. And don't forget, Ben's still got fastest lap to his name as well, so that's an extra point for Ben. Now, yeah. Ben was only 5 points clear of O'Reilly, second to third in before the restart anyway. What Ben didn't have was that fastest lap. So, at the minute, Ben's only gaining 1 extra point over O'Reilly in this championship. But what it is doing is Dan's mistake is put him down the order. And he's now got to get past Matt Wright, who Dan is still behind.
Yes, indeed. It's all turned into custard a little bit for Dan this evening. And de Bont still looking at the back of Patrick Leisure.
Showing how hard it is to overtake.
It is, absolutely, yeah, because de Bont's no slouch, although Patrick has come forward leaps and bounds this season. And, God, it's getting late, isn't it?
Are you all right?
Whoa.
You still on holiday mode?
I think I am, mate. Yeah. I don't think I've switched it on properly.
What happened there, Kelly? I just looked at the stream chat a moment. Just talk through what happened there with Ligier and de Bont.
Ligier had a bit of a moment out of the corner before Bombhole, the right-hander. And de Bont just caught him quickly and just nudged the back of him. Doesn't look like any harm done, except de Bont has just been dropped back a little bit, dropped off the back of Ligier.
So we're in a position now where we're watching Dan and Matt Wright at the moment. Ben leads from O'Reilly from McGowan. Clouden is now your net pit leader. Obviously was fourth on the road at the time, so we'll see what this will do for Clouden. I think he's gone for that undercut option and getting the clear air, and he's got some clear air, but he's gaining on Stardog. Now, again, Stardog's yet to pit, so it's one thing pitting early, but when you get in that traffic, it's going to cause other problems. We didn't know what happened to Dan. This is now the closest fight on track between Matt Wright and Dan Davis at the moment. And looking back from Matt Wright here, well, Dan needs something to go his way, because at the moment it isn't.
Yes, you're quite right. I don't know what that is that will make this damage limitation for him, because he's in a bit of an awful position at the moment. But, we've got 15 minutes left. It's not a long time left, but we have got an awful lot of guys who haven't taken their stop yet, so that could benefit him somehow. We'll see how it pans out, but it's turning out a great night for Ben and his championship campaign. It's turning out to be a solid night for Kieran and damage limitation against his rivals, but for Dan it's not turning out to be the best night.
Ramsell pits. He was within 6/10 of John Goodace. That's one car that Dan and Clouden may not have to overtake. Definitely not Clouden, because he's about to come past Rob Ramsell. Dan, who's still on the back of Matt, but half a second behind him, just cannot seem to get past him at the moment. Driver of the day poll's gone up. Ben Ruck, Kieran O'Reilly, Jamal Clouden and Ian McGowan are your option. How is there 15 minutes left of the race, but 25 minutes of the pit window? We haven't altered the pit window, so the pit window was still set up for race 2. Dan wide at turn 1 on the grass a little bit there, so the race was still set up for the pit window for the 70-minute race, so they can pit at any time.
Does that technically mean, I know it won't in the rules, but does that technically mean you can pit after you finish the race?
No, because you'd have crossed the checkered flag. No, you've crossed the checkered flag.
Yeah. It's just all a bit of contradiction in terms, that one, isn't it?
I'll talk to you off air. I'm not going to say anything on air to give strategies away, but I'll talk to you off air about something that I noticed in testing this week.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what happens. De Bont's back on Ligier. That's within 7/10 of a second. Dan still half a second to Matt Wright. And now look, where's Stardog? Well, it was 9/10 to Stardog in Clouden. That doesn't seem to be 9/10 anymore. So, yeah, let's see what happens here. But has Clouden made a mistake? I don't think so, because he's still pretty comfortable ahead of Matt Wright. 6.4 seconds. Let's have a look here when it updates. Well, he has made a mistake. It's 2.4 seconds. It's 4.4 to Stardog. So Clouden's made a mistake somewhere this lap.
Yes, he has. And again,
McGowan in.
McGowan in. Let's see how his pit stop goes. His race engineer, Tim's saying that his pit stops are, I think the word he used was crappy.
Well, he's in. He's done his stop. Yeah. He's on his way out. Cloudon's just exited the final corner. I think McGowan's going to stay ahead of Cloudon here because Cloudon's made that mistake. There's McGowan. Yeah. Stardog's come in, so that's a car out the way for Dan and Cloudon. There's McGowan. Going to pull across the circuit now. Stays ahead of Cloudon. So we're as we were.
Cloudon would be absolutely ruin that mistake. Because there's nothing in it by the time they get to the hairpin, and that could have been different.
Tips can't vote for Gownie for driver of the day because he doesn't listen. There we go.
There we go.
So
seemed like a good pit stop for McGowan.
Yeah,
didn't seem to be any problems. Yeah,
he'd have been clearly jumped by Cloudon, but Cloudon made that mistake, as you've just said. Dan just cannot get close enough to Matt Wright. He's within 2/10, but cannot get past him here. This is not doing Dan the world of good in terms of O'Reilly and Ben, is it? He wants to clear that traffic, and he'll want to get on Cloudon and McGowan to keep the fight going to them.
Not having one of his classic British tracks, is
I guarantee the first thing he says when we speak to him is, I hate British circuits.
Oh, well, he always says that anyway. But last time he was in the Lamborghini,
there's a no from Chris in the chat. What's happened? Ben's off! Ben's off! At the bombhole, O'Reilly has a big lead. Ben is off at the bombhole and has had to cut across Coram. And I can only assume that was Ben's own doing. He's coming into the pits, but O'Reilly has a huge lead in this race now.
Okay, yeah, Ben might be learning some new expletives right now. We don't know what happened, but as you say, he's off, but he's gone for his pit. This could pan out for O'Reilly very, very nicely, this could.
Well, Ben's in. His stop is not yet done. McGowan exits the final corner. He's gone a little deep as McGowan. Deep. Cloudon's had a wiggle. That'll give Cloudon the room, the space. So Ben now is going to exit the pit lane. Cloudon and McGowan going at it. They're both going to get past Ben Rook, which really helps O'Reilly out here. And Dan and Matt Wright may be in a fight with Ben Rook. Dan's going to the outside of Matt Wright. Ben comes out the pit lane. They're nearly 3 wide. Dan around the outside of Wright, who has to slow down even more because of Ben coming out the pits. And Ben there... Well, he helps Dan out, and Dan's now attacking the back of Ben, but Ben Rook's mistake has put him 2 behind O'Reilly in this race.
Yeah, and something happened. I was looking down at the screen, trying to clear something on the screen, and Cloudon got in front of McGowan.
Did that at the final corner.
Yeah, I think it was because where McGowan went wide, Cloudon made an opportunity, and now Cloudon's back in front of McGowan.
He is indeed.
This could pan out for Cloudon as well.
Oh, Dan's nearly got into the back of Ben and Agostini now, just struggling under braking Dan there. Dan and Ben do not seem to be with it since the restart. De Bonsel on the back of Leger there in the background. Matt Wright's got a watching brief of all of this. And at the minute, John Gooday's P3 on the road, Class P2 on the road, and O'Reilly P1 on the road. But you feel that O'Reilly, 18 seconds clear of Class, is going to take this win. It'll be hard to see him do it from... He's got to make a mistake, Kelly.
He's got to be counting his lucky stars, has he not? Because this is all falling his way from other people's mistakes. Again, just be consistent, just keep it on the track, just keep going forward, and so the face of this race changes again.
And well, drivers can complain about the restart. It was either cancel the race and no points or continue the race and score points. Ben had it in his control, didn't he? And he made the mistake. There can be no complaints about the restart. You've got to do the job after. And Ben's the one who's made that mistake. Goudet pits. The pack comes flying through. Ramsel was not far off the back of Goudet before the pit stop. So we'll drop to Ramsel. In fact, Goudet's already away. So cracking stop as Ramsel not had the best of terms since he's come out the pits because Goudet's away. Hibbs will get through. I think Goudet may just be behind Cardno. Yes, he will be, but stays well ahead of Rob Ramsel in this race. And McGowan on the back of Cloudon. Dan now has a chance to really attack Ben and score some points back here, but they're both going to lose out big time while they aren't close to Cloudon or McGowan at the moment. 8 minutes to go. They really need Cloudon and McGowan and O'Reilly to make mistakes.
Yes, they do. Mind you, this race, anything could happen, and that's what happens in sim racing, isn't it? You can never. It's never a slam dunk with this game. You can always make mistakes, and Ben had a comfortable 3-second lead, commanding this race, and it all turns to custard very, very quickly. And Tim's just saying. NRL Bungle, my good friend Andy, listens to me, but that guy really needs some guidance. So, and Tim's also saying, whatever the outcome, it's made for some great racing. Yes, as viewers, you're getting all the best action as per usual at SimPlay.
Well, let me tell you something now. A 1 litre splash and dash is 27 seconds. Okay?
Okay.
That is the perfect pit stop. Perfectly in, perfectly out, perfectly stopped in your box. Class is 19 behind O'Reilly. So Clouden would need to be 8 behind Class to challenge O'Reilly. He's not. It was 16 last time I saw. And it stays... It's 16 and a half now. So Class will be... So O'Reilly will lead this race ahead of Clouden and ahead of McGowan.
Yep, and it's all turned out nice again, hasn't it? You know, and again, keep your head down, keep your consistency, and sometimes the race just comes to you.
McGowan still not letting Clouden get away with this one. Still on a net podium is McGowan, because Class will lose out to all of these drivers. So if it's 29 seconds, 16 to Jamal, so 17 to McGowan. So what's that? So 2 back there, so that's 18... so 17, 18, 19 to Ben. About 20 seconds to Dan. So he'll come out around Matt Wright, will Class. So possibly just behind or just in front of Matt Wright at the moment will Class be. So around 7th or 8th. Around 6th or 7th, So that's not bad for Class. He could have another gold win to his name. But we've got McGowan fighting Jamal Clouden. We've got Dan trying to attack Ben. We've got De Bont, who will paint us a pretty picture of that rear of Leger's car. Yeah, this isn't over by any stretch of the imagination. O'Reilly's in.
Okay, we'll see. We think he's got a comfortable gap.
Dan's attacking Ben around the outside into Brundle. Doesn't get it done, but they was close there. Ben a little deep at the exit. Dan very deep at the exit of Nelson. So Dan's just trying to put his teammate under pressure for this championship.
Yep, and as we said before, there's no team orders for these guys. The gloves are off. They both were racing for a championship. Dan for his 11th, Ben for his 1st.
Gives you Fury vibes, Ben does, doesn't it, at the moment?
He does, yeah. Funny, I was thinking that earlier.
Gets in a good position with race 1, good position start of race 2, makes his own mistake, and it's kind of Fury vibe. We know Fury, Joseph Bates, was the master of the side series. Who Darren Cup, Joseph would probably be all over. In GT3 Pros, he just couldn't do it, could he?
No, he had early days. He had he dropped out of Pro into Pro-Am, absolutely destroyed Pro-Am. I know because I was runner-up to him.
And when we say dropped out, by the way, was relegated properly.
Yes.
Wasn't just demoted or pulled out and come back to Pro-Am. Was relegated because of his poor pro season.
Yeah, and then destroyed Pro-Am, and as I said, I can vouch for that because I was the man he absolutely destroyed, and went back into Pro, and then really started to show his class and his style, and we tipped him for multiple championships, didn't we? As you know, the new kid on the block, the young blood coming through, and I thought about Fury earlier with the way Ben's going. He is that new blood. He is that future of SimPlay, and I'm hoping that. I think I don't know if Fury went off to do other things, or he ever quite got on ACC like he should have done. But on Project Cars, he was a demon.
It was as if that Pro-Am season was a growing thing for Fury, wasn't it, at the time? I don't think Ben will get into that same position of being demoted into Pro-Am.
No.
But it was almost as if that learning season in Pro-Am, he won the Constructors that season with Kieran Argent, Forever Forward Racing, if I remember rightly, was almost like it reignited Fury, Joseph Bates, when he came back up into the Pro Series.
I think he had a change of car as well, didn't he? He found the Mercedes.
Went to Mercedes.
Mercedes made that a lot easier. What also happened with Joe is he got older and got a driving licence and a job and a career.
No driving licence yet. No, not yet.
Has he not got? I'm surprised at that. Yeah, but he's got a career now, though, hasn't he?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So, life changes, doesn't it? And as I said, I don't know if he ever hooked up ACC. Ever got on top of it. There was a lot of change for the old school Project Cars drivers to get on top of this ACC format, and it hasn't translated for everybody, and it's took a lot of time for others.
Yeah. Yeah, indeed it has. So O'Reilly leads 7.9 to Clouden, who's been hassled by McGowan 8 attempts, 2 seconds back to Ben. Dan's back on Ben. Dan went deep at the Wilson hairpin a lap or two ago, which just dropped him off the back. But the closest fight, as it has been all night, really, Ligier versus De Bont.
Yeah, they're almost welded together, aren't they? And Ligier doing a cracking job for the AS Racing team. And I may have said it before, he's one of the best improved. If we have a SimPlay Awards and there's a best improved driver, then he'll be on my vote for that, because he has just come alive.
Yeah, he's come alive indeed at the moment. Let's see what happens. I think this is going to be a good fight, Ligier to De Bont to the end, because De Bont's been on form recently, hasn't he? He's took it to O'Reilly a little bit, nearly into the back of Ligier there. Brundle and Nelson, really difficult to get right. Davis now hassling the back of Ben once again.
Another squirrely moment through the bomb
for
hole
Dan
there.
To stay in this championship, though, he's got to kind of beat Ben, because the more Ben starts to pull points on, and we've only 4 races left after this, you know, it's 2 minutes left. We've got 2 laps of this race to go, so it will pretty much be full points. This 40 minutes has flown by, hasn't it? Wow, this has gone quite quick.
Yeah, maybe we should have a 3-race format. Wow. There you go, there's one for the admins to talk about, and I'm sure it has done. Yeah. You giggle like that's probably being talked about.
No.
Okay, right.
We've got it in the Ginettas, haven't we? 3 20-minute sprint races. And,
yeah, and I like that.
Yeah, I think it's good. But in these GT3s, I think we need to look at bringing strategy in more than having sprints. Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's a case of one or two things then, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you know, it's a case of lengthening the race and a change of format again. And I mean, I have said that in previous, previous streams that I think the feature race should be longer. I think, or 3 sprints. Yeah. You know, that's how I feel about it, touring car style.
I think what we have to do is tonight as well. We're going to skip the driver interviews. We're not going to go into them. It is 20 to 11 already. We know that people are up early tomorrow for work, so I think it's best to skip the interviews tonight due to the delay. So we sadly won't hear from the drivers tonight, unfortunately. As time's ticking on, we know that people have work to go to in the morning and things. But we're looking like we're pretty settled in this race. The only change I can see really happening is Ligier, De Bont, potentially. McGowan ebbs and flows to Clouden, and Dan's ebbing and flowing to Ben Rook.
Yeah, he does, but they all seem to have it under control. I think exactly the right call. Some of us have got multinational, international corporations to run, and other of us have just got audio sport to run. So, I think it's a good shout. You know, so leader is on the last lap. This is a gift for Kieran. You've got to say he's got to be sitting in his car thinking, happy days. Look how this panned out.
You speak of gifts. It's September on Monday, which means, you know.
What? Dancing in September?
Getting closer to Christmas. I didn't want to say it, but we're getting closer to Christmas. And this could possibly be an early Christmas present for O'Reilly. Now, McGowan's just gone wide at turn 1. Ben's pretty close to O'Reilly. Last lap, Ben would have wanted at least another 5 or so minutes to get on the back of O'Reilly. But this looks pretty done, doesn't it? De Bont doesn't look like he's going to get past. I'm going to say it. Oh, Dan's had a moment. Oh, big slide. That could have been a big one for Dan.
It's never looked under him tonight, has it?
No, it hasn't. He just hasn't looked comfortable, has he?
No, and I think I started to say last time he raced here in this car, he grand slammed this one, didn't he?
And it was the first race of the season, so it was 2 pole positions and 2 race wins. So
the biggest result. Absolutely, and not getting on with the Lamborghini quite so well tonight. And as I say, just doesn't seem like it's been underneath him. But that's what have we got left? 3 rounds, 6 races.
2 rounds, 4 races.
2 rounds,
Valencia
4 races.
And Donington Park.
Oh, are we really that close to Donny?
You're back in 2 weeks. You're back on the track in 2 weeks.
Yeah, back on track. Yeah, looking forward to it. Can't wait.
It is though going to be a win for O'Reilly on a night where he suffered all week, didn't race the GT4s due to illness, still struggling today, was not, at one stage looked like he wasn't going to race tonight. A 3rd and a 1st, you can't take it away from him. GT4 Who Darren Cup champion, is he champion-elect in Pro? He wins race number 22. Good stuff for him. Jamal Clouden, a set of 2nd places. What a job for Jamal Clouden tonight. Really good stuff. McGowan, P3. Ben Rook will claim fastest lap in a P4. Dan, P5. Matt Wright is going to come across for
result.
that P number 6 for him. Leger 7th, De Bont 8th, Class down in 9th. Matt Wright gets a category race win for his troubles there. So good stuff for him. Hibbs is going to cross the line. He was having a close fight with Cordno at the end for 10th and 11th. Goudet P12 in this one as he comes to the line now. Rob Ramsell we're just waiting on. He's got Stardog all over the back of him at the moment, but that one looks done in this race as well. Yeah, what a shame tonight due to the interruptions with the server, but it provided us a cracking 40-minute race.
It did indeed, yeah. It split our evening up, and hopefully you guys at home still enjoyed it. A bit of chit chat about many options that you can do over a race. I'm sure the admins will come up with a lovely format for next year, and we'll enjoy it thoroughly. And it's been all right tonight, hasn't it? It's for us the viewers, there'll be some frustrated drivers, but for us the viewers. I'm sure you've had a good show this evening, and all the audio sport guys just playing silly buggers a little bit and nudging each other around a little bit, all in a little bit of play.
I'm just going to quickly run through finally, Kelly. Give us your final thoughts on today's action and your driver of the day, please.
Action, as I said, the way things went this evening gave us a bit of action, and this Pro Series has been all action all season, as it normally is anyway. And driver of the day, so tough this evening. I've got to say that Clouden drove extremely well this evening. Matt Wright had a really good evening. Ben Rook, of course, was up until his one mistake, was the absolute class of the field tonight. De Bont and Leisure having a great evening. There was lots of great drives this evening. But for me, apart from that, he backed off down the straight. I think McGowan for me is my driver of the day. Just tipped to it from Ben, and again I took it away from Ben just for that one mistake. But tonight, so many good drives.
Well, I'm going to go a different way then. I'm going to go Clouden.
Yep. Sure.
I think them two.
I could get that.
You know, O'Reilly first and third, great. Ben first and fourth, great. But you've gone McGowan, and I understand why. Back of the grid to what was it, a top 9, top 8, something like that.
Yeah, 7, I think it was.
Seventh. There we go. Yeah. Clouden a set of second places, so great to see Clouden back up there. I'm going to go them two. The championship standings out. Only 4 drivers can win it. O'Reilly, basically. Him and Ben may as well have not bothered tonight because the gap is 76 points between the two of them with 266 to play for. Danny's 92 behind now, so he's just dropped down a little bit. Williams 237 behind, can still win. Clouden's up to 5th, cannot win it anymore. Neither can McGowan, then De Bont overtaker. Matt right now leads gold with Leger 2nd in gold. Mike drops to 3rd. Hibbs is P12, 4th in gold. John Gooday's 13th with Harris 14th. Then it's Cordno, Tardok, Ramsell, Stardog, Class, Smith, Millington, Skunky, Cairns, Hoffer, Rosowski, Hay, O'Sullivan, and the constructors 262 is the gap between Audio Sport and Dapper. 510 points up for grabs in that one. Cloud9 can still win it, but they're 499 points behind, so really unlikely. SimPlay Racing 4th from Greasy Bandits, AS Racing, Team GBR, MSA, Team RRM, Utopia Quantum, Roadrunner Motors, Full Send for Short Lords, and Effect Motorsport. Sadly, though,